My husband gave me a jade pendant after I started wearing it. Strange things kept happening. First came sudden heart palpitations, shortness of breath, and muscle aches. Then, out of nowhere, I developed rhabdomyolysis and internal bleeding, passing out from the pain and waking up again. I was in such agony that I wanted to throw myself out the window. That's when I overheard my husband's family chatting with his mistress. "Mom, Dad, this is the life swap jade pendant. All the discomfort from Xiaoyao's live streaming challenges gets transferred to the old lady through this." "That's right, Uncle and Auntie. I tested it before telling you. Later, you can bind it to her too, and then enjoy a thrilling life. That powerful. Then do it for Mom later. I'm going to dance in the square for 10 days and 10 nights straight." "Me too. Your old man wants to challenge the Altai line trek. Bro, I want it too. I'm going to march all the way to the capital from here." Rage surged within me. Bracing myself against the pain, I rushed over, hugged them, and leaped with them from the 20th floor. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day my husband gave me the fate-exchanging jade pendant. "One, here, Ching Ching, put this on. I had it specially prepared for you." My husband Zhao Ming's smile was full of eagerness. He held an ordinary circular jade pendant in his hand. This was the first gift he had given me after our marriage in my past life. I was deeply touched and put it on without a second thought. Not long after, I suddenly began to feel unwell. First came heart palpitations and shortness of breath, then a gradual weakness in my legs, as if I had been walking for a very, very long time. I thought I had just caught a chill, so I didn't pay it any mind. Little did I expect that the next day, things would take an even more serious turn. My entire body ached with unusual intensity. I felt swollen all over, and was nauseous. I rushed to the hospital, only to be diagnosed with rhabdomyolysis. Before I could even be surprised, a sudden, inexplicable sharp pain shot through my internal organs. As if I had been hit by a car, I lost consciousness. I was jolted awake by the pain again. Lying in the hospital bed, I was in so much agony that I wanted to throw myself off the roof. That's when I overheard a conversation from the inner side of the ward. Zhao Ming, his mistress Wu Ye, and his parents were all talking together. Only then did I realize that Zhao Ming had already been cheating on me. The jade pendant he gave me was actually a life transfer system, designed to shift every bit of harm meant for Wu Ye onto me. The thought of it filled me with such rage that I wanted nothing more than to strangle Zhao Ming with my own hands. But I can't, because there's still Wu Ye, and my in-laws and sister-in-law who, after learning the truth, didn't want to save me but instead wanted me to bear the harm for them. Going after Wu Ming now would tip them off, since they all crave excitement. I'll let them wear the jade pendant for a thrill in this lifetime. I suppressed the burning hatred in my heart. Before I could speak, Zhao Ming couldn't wait any longer. "Ching Ching, why do you have that strange look on your face? What are you thinking about? Why don't you put on the jade pendant quickly? You don't think it's some cheap, worthless trinket, do you? Is that why you don't want it? TSK, can't you be a little more sensible and not so vain? It's not easy for me to earn money, you know." What a toxic jerk. He's really good at twisting things around and blaming me. I was only a little slow, and he couldn't wait to pounce. He's nothing like the gentle, patient man he was before we got married. In my past life, I somehow never saw this side of him. It led me to such a miserable end that I had to take them down with me. Fortunately, fate has given me another chance in this life. I'll make sure they get exactly what they deserve. I forced a smile and pretended to be understanding, saying, "Zhao Ming, you've misunderstood me. I'm just so overwhelmed with surprise that I didn't react right away." Zhao Ming, still looking anxious, urged, "Then hurry and put on the jade pendant." I stepped back and said, "No rush, I'll put it on later." "No," Zhao Ming called out. Seeing my confusion, he quickly added, "I'm just afraid you might forget later, since this is my heartfelt gesture after all." "Why are you in such a hurry? I think this jade pendant is quite nice. How about you put it on so I can take a look?" I suddenly said. Zhao Ming's face immediately turned terrified. "No." The next moment, however, he forced a change of expression and covered it up by saying, I mean, this is something for a woman to wear. I'm a grown man, so I shouldn't put it on. It would hurt my masculinity." After saying that, he kept urging me to put it on myself. At that point, I was certain that the jade pendant would only take effect if I put it on voluntarily. Based on how things played out in my previous life, Wu Ye would be calling any moment now. After that, Zhao Ming would head to the balcony with his phone and talk to her for at least an hour. I could make good use of that time. "Fine, bring it here. I'll put it on after I finish my shower." I took the jade pendant from him. Zhao Ming's face lit up with joy, then he frowned and said, "Don't wait until after your shower, just put it on now." Suddenly, his phone rang. He glanced at it, and the corners of his mouth shot up in a grin. Without even bothering to urge me further, He made an excuse about an employee needing him and dashed off to the balcony with his phone. Hello, Xiaoya. I let out a cold laugh, grabbing the jade pendant and my phone. I hurried out the door too as I headed downstairs. I opened a food delivery app and used the image search to identify the jade pendant. Fortunately, the pendant had a common design. And the same model was available all over the city, with the most expensive one costing no more than 299 yuan. I picked the closest match I could find, had the shop wrap it up, and rush it over, worried it wouldn't be fast enough. I specifically chose express priority delivery and added a 100 yuan tip for the delivery address. I chose the back gate of the neighborhood. Almost no one comes or goes there usually, and it's completely out of sight from my place, so I felt at ease. Soon enough, the delivery arrived. I picked it up, and my heart leaped with joy. The jade pendant I bought and the life-exchanging jade pendant are exactly the same in shape and texture. Ring, ring, ring. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was a call from Zhao Ming. Huangqing, where are you? The jade pendant is gone. Did you put it on? Zhao Ming's tone was urgent. He's really anxious to make me wear that pendant. In his previous life, he and Wu Yu would have had so much to talk about at this time. Now, I've only been out for a little over 10 minutes and he's already calling me impatiently, just to make sure I'm wearing the jade pendant. Why are you in such a hurry? I'm just taking a walk downstairs. I have the pendant on. After brushing Zhao Ming off with those words, I put on the fake jade pendant with a cold sneer and headed back inside with the life replacement one tucked away. Zhao Ming and the others were waiting at the door. As soon as he saw me from a distance, he immediately rushed over. The urgency on his face vanished the moment he noticed the jade pendant around my neck. But he still grumbled, "Why did you suddenly go downstairs for a walk early on a weekend morning? You made me and my employee discuss work, all while worrying about you. Water that is too pure has no fish. A person who is shameless is invincible." Brazenly going to the balcony to fool around with a mistress while lying about discussing work with a colleague, and you have the nerve to say you're worried about me. Zhao Ming is such a jerk. Absolutely despicable. I glared at his back, then stepped forward and shoved past him. Storming through the door, Zhao Ming stumbled from the collision and let out a yelp, clutching his arm. Ouch. Huangqing, why are you so rough? You ran right into me. I ignored him at breakfast. He came over and said, "Ching Ching, something urgent came up at the company. I need to go on a business trip. Help me pack." Business trip? I ground out through clenched teeth. To accompany Wu Yu during her live stream and make sure she didn't experience any discomfort during the challenge, leaving me, his lawfully wedded wife, at home to bear the pain for the other woman. That was his so-called business trip. Thinking about my past life, I called him in anguish, only for him to tell me not to bother him. He turned right around and started laughing and chatting with Wu Yu in the livestream. A wave of disgust washed over me, picking up on the displeasure in my voice. Zhao Ming felt a bit guilty, having to suddenly go on a business trip over the weekend. I know you're upset I can't be with you, but I'm the boss, and this is what the client wants. There's nothing I can do about it. Exactly. Zhao Shan, my sister-in-law, chimed in loudly. She had just come out of the bedroom but already knew exactly what Zhao Ming was about to do. They exchanged glances as they looked at Zhao Ming. My brother's the boss. Of course he has to personally handle important clients. A team leader like you wouldn't understand. I was speechless. Yeah, I really don't understand. Zhao Ming was a boss, but his company, Wu Yu included, only had 2 employees. I worked at a company with several hundred people. Even though I was just a team leader, I managed more than 2 people. Zhao Shan didn't catch my sarcasm. Seeing that I was playing along, she shot me a few more smug glances. Her eyes lit up when she spotted the jade pendant I was wearing. "What's that you've got there? I've never seen it before. Is it new? How much was it? Let me see." Zhao Ming immediately panicked. "No way." 3. Zhao Shan was taken aback, looking very confused. "Why, bro? Haven't you always spoiled me the most?" I also looked confused. "Yeah, Zhao Ming, it's just a jade pendant. Let Shanshan see it if she wants." I made a move to take off the pendant. Zhao Ming immediately stopped me. "Don't take it off." Then he turned to Zhao Shan and said, "I bought this especially for your sister-in-law. It means something different." Zhao Shan was unconvinced and pouted in protest. "What's the difference? You bought that wedding ring for my sister-in-law, but I'm the one who ended up wearing it." She raised her hand, revealing a ring on her middle finger with a diamond so tiny it required a magnifying glass to see. Zhao Shan looked down on me, just like my in-laws did. They always felt that I was the one reaching above my station by marrying Zhao Ming, the first college student from their village. She loved taking petty advantages, and even more so, taking advantage of me. Whenever she spotted something nice at my place, or something she fancied, she'd ask for it as if She were entitled to it. Zhao Ming always said she was just being childish and asked me to be understanding and tolerant. In the past, he acted gentle and considerate. Fooled by him, I believed what he said and ended up indulging Zhao Shan more than I should have. This wedding ring was something Zhao Ming claimed to have spent a fortune on, custom made just for me. Zhao Shan wanted it after seeing it, and caused a huge scene on my and Zhao Ming's wedding night. I didn't want to give it to her. It was Zhao Ming who made me give it away, saying he'd get me a better one later. But now, 3 days after the wedding, nothing's shown up, except a life-swapping jade pendant. Zhao Shan wants this pendant, and I'm more than happy to give it to her. Zhao Ming, though, is far from pleased. This is different. I had this pendant custom made to make up for the wedding ring your sister-in-law lost because of you. This pendant is one of a kind. Don't be childish like before and go begging your sister-in-law for it. Zhao Ming spoke earnestly and even threw in a reproachful word to Zhao Shan. After saying this, he didn't forget to turn and remind me again, not to take off the jade pendant, and not to indulge Zhao Shan any longer. I sneered inwardly. If I didn't know the truth, I might have been fooled by his superb acting. Fine, I get it, I'll listen to you. Zhao Shan shot me a glare and pouted aggrievedly. I heard you too, big brother. Yet his eyes remained fixed on the jade pendant, knowing full well she wouldn't give up. I deliberately said to Zhao Ming, weren't you in a hurry to leave on your business trip? Why are you still here? Zhao Shan's eyes lit up. Right, bro, you should get going. Sister-in-law is here to take care of things. Don't you worry, go, and have a great time with with your colleague. She knew full well her brother was cheating, yet she still covered for him and lied to me. Doesn't she ever fear that one day she might end up in the same situation herself? But really, there's nothing to be afraid of because I'm kind-hearted and have decided to give her the jade pendant later, sparing her from ever meeting a cheating scumbag. Zhao Shan smiled warmly. I smiled too. Zhao Ming was in a hurry to meet up with Wu Ye and didn't have the patience to deal with the two of us. Relieved that we were being so obedient, he sternly reminded us not to do anything with the jade pendant without his permission, then quickly packed his things and left. As soon as Zhao Ming left, Zhao Shan immediately turned aggressive and reached her hand toward me. Let me see the jade pendant, sister-in-law. Zhao Ming wasn't sure the jade pendant would actually work. His trip with Wu Yu was also partly to test the life exchange system. That's why he hadn't told Zhao Shan or the others beforehand. So Zhao Shan had no idea it was a life exchange pendant. She thought it was just an ordinary jade piece. When she tried to demand it back, Zhao Ming blocked her and mentioned that the jade pendant was one of a kind, which only made her even more interested. I had been wondering which of my in-laws, my father-in-law, mother-in-law, or sister-in-law, should be the first to try out the jade pendant, but now that Zhao Shan was being so proactive, it saved me the trouble. I smiled and nodded. All right, for when removing the jade pendant, I pretended to let it slip from my fingers. Then, as it fell, I turned aside and quickly swapped in the real life exchange jade pendant. Here, Shan Shan. The jade pendant is for you. You know what's good for you. Zhao Shan snatched the jade pendant away. So this is the unique, one-of-a-kind jade pendant my brother specially ordered. It feels cool to the touch, but looks, I chimed in, looks pretty ordinary, doesn't it? That's what I thought too, but your brother said this is what you call keeping a low profile. Don't show off your wealth, and you won't make others jealous. Exactly, he really is my brother, the first in our village to go to college. Everything he says is so wise. Zhao Shan nodded in admiration. She held the jade pendant in her hand, looking it over again and again. Utterly delighted, she happily put it on, then took out a small mirror and admired herself with great pleasure. Looks good, it really had to be me. It suits me way better than it ever suited you. Yeah, it really does look good on you, Shan Shan. If you like it, just wear it, I said considerately. Zhao Shan snorted. TCH. My brother bought this for me anyway, of course I can wear it. Since when do I need your permission? She shot me a glance, then curled up on the couch with her phone to watch a live stream. I stared coldly at her back. Good morning, my friends. Today, Xiaoya is going on an exciting challenge, starting right here in Nanjing. I'm going to hike all the way to the capital in one day. The sound of the live stream drifted over. I glanced over and saw that Wu Yu was the one initiating the challenge. Wu Yu enjoys all kinds of challenges, but she's neither fit nor strong, so she can only host live streams commenting on other people's challenges. In my past life, as soon as she was bound to me, she couldn't wait to start her own challenge livestream, saying she was going on an extreme long-distance hike. She had no exercise routine, yet she suddenly pushed herself to walk hundreds of kilometers without stopping. Viewers praised her for being amazing, noting that she didn't get out of breath or show signs of discomfort for hours. What they didn't know was that all the physical strain From that sudden intense exertion was being borne by me in her place. My heart was racing, I struggled to breathe, my legs felt swollen, and every muscle in my body ached. I was so miserable that I collapsed onto the sofa, only to be mocked by Zhao Shan. "You're so useless, lying around at home and still daring to say you feel unwell. You can't even compare to Sister Xiaoya. Look at her. She's live streaming a non-stop brutal hike from South City all the way to the capital, and she's still full of energy." Zhao Shan shoved her phone right in my face. On the live stream, Zhao Ming appeared on camera driving a small scooter. He ambled slowly alongside Wu Ye, feeding her water and wiping away her sweat with great attentiveness. The two occasionally exchanged glances, thick with affection. Fury flared in my eyes as I asked in shock, "Didn't your brother say he was on a business trip? Why did he show up in the live stream? What do you know?" Zhao Shan shot me a dismissive glance. "My brother does live streaming operations. His clients are basically just netizens, right? When they said they wanted to see a challenge, he took the company's only streamer, Sister Xiaoya, on a business trip to do the live show." Zhao Shan said it as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Only then did I realize that Wu Yu was actually Zhao Ming's employee, and judging by how they acted, they had probably been involved with each other for a long time. Furious inside, I wanted to press for more answers, but Wu Ye, who was live streaming, kept turning her head to flirt with Zhao Ming, and ended up stumbling and falling forward. The injury was transferred to me. A sharp pain shot through my knee, leaving me momentarily unable to speak. As I recalled this, my legs trembled slightly, as if the dull ache and pain were still there. I pinched my thigh, and the real, slight sting replaced the phantom pain. Only then did I snap back to reality and let out a breath. It felt so good to still be standing here, safe and sound. Zhao Shan was fully immersed in her livestream. Come to think of it, Sister Xiaoya is an influencer with 999 followers. If she were my sister-in-law, that would be amazing. She'd definitely be generous and send me tons of luxury gifts. I walked over to the sofa, glanced at the jade pendant she was wearing, and smiled silently. A life-swapping jade pendant. Now that's what I call a gift. Just as we have finished catching up with her close friends, the challenge was about to begin. I quickly took out my phone, sat down next to Zhao Shan, and started watching the livestream too. 5. Zhao Shan looked confused. "Aren't you going to argue with me?" In the past, whenever she said Zhao Ming and I weren't a good match, I would argue with her. But now, having seen Zhao Ming for who he really is, all I want to say is that whoever wants this piece of trash can take it. Zhao Shan leaned over, even more puzzled. "You're also watching Sister Xiaoya's challenge livestream. Wait, do you even understand it?" I gave a faint smile. "Not really, but since you were watching it, I got curious, though I never expected that you, Shan, with your heart condition, would enjoy watching these challenges." Zhao Shan pursed her lips. "If it weren't for this damn illness, I'd love to go live with Shao Jia, march and step all the way to Beijing. Sister-in-law, you need to work hard and earn money to treat me, so I can fulfill my dream." "Got it. My brother is really popular, even big influencers are chasing him. You need to treat me well, then I'll put in a good word for you later, so you can stay in our family." How shameless. Shouldn't she be the one working hard, or have her in-laws and her brother earn the money to treat her, skipping over all of them and dumping the responsibility on me? The sister-in-law is that famous internet celebrity chasing after Zhao Ming. What about Wu Ye? With her 999 followers? I sneered inwardly but replied aloud, "Sure, your dream will come true." Wasn't Wu Ye already making Zhao Shan's dream come true by putting her through the grueling experience of a forced trek to the capital? Sure enough, Zhao Shan was already starting to breathe heavily, but she was completely unaware. Still glued to the live stream, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Zhao Ming. "Ching Ching, you're still wearing the jade pendant, right? Send me a photo." I rolled my eyes and sent him a photo of Zhao Shan with only her neck showing. As soon as I sent it, Zhao Ming replied, "Good, don't take it off, keep wearing it." Right away, in the livestream room, he gave Wu Ye an okay sign. Wu Ye gave a crooked smile and announced she was about to pick up the pace. Zhao Shan got excited. Huff, huff. Xiaoya has so much energy, walking for so long without stopping, and now she's speeding up. She's amazing. Huff, huff, and huff. Her livestream is so infectious. Just watching her makes me feel tired. My legs feel sore just thinking about it. Huff, huff, huff. In just a few sentences, Zhao Shan's breathing was already unsteady. Gasping heavily several times with one hand holding her phone, she pounded her leg with a fist and massaged her shoulder with the other. Ugh, so strange. Why do I feel this tightness in my chest? My whole body feels heavy and achy. I can't take it. I need to go lie down, Zhao Shan said weakly, then clutched her chest and went back to her room. I knew the life-swapping jade pendant was taking effect. Watching Zhao Shan's exhausted figure in this second life, I still found it unbelievable that such a simple little jade pendant could produce this kind of effect. Zhao Shan suddenly called out to me, "Sister-in-law, I feel so terrible, come in and give me a foot rub." I gave her a cold look and ignored her. Instead, I created an account and commented on the livestream, "The host is too slow, it'll take forever to reach the capital. I suggest you run, sprint at full speed." As Wu Yu was fuming, Zhao Ming read the comments aloud for her. Upon hearing my comment, Wu Yu's eyes lit up. "Great. Thanks for the suggestion, bro, Xiaoya is on it." "Wait a second," Zhao Ming suddenly said. My heart skipped a beat, thinking he had noticed something. Fortunately, he just thought running wouldn't be exciting enough. "I've got an idea. I brought a rope, we can tie it around your waist, and I'll use my motorcycle to give you a speed boost." What a devil incarnate. Who would have thought Wu Yu would actually agree? Great idea, watch me, folks. Today Xiaoya turns into Bolt and puts on a show as a Roadrunner. 6. Wu Yu tied a rope around herself and fastened it to the back of the motorcycle. Zhao Ming sat in front and started the scooter. Vroom. The little motorcycle gave a dull roar and shot off like a rocket. Wu Yu let out a whoop as she was jerked forward, stumbling along. I was stunned speechless. The viewers in the live stream were frozen for a moment too, then erupted in cheers. Quite a few even started sending tips. Seeing this, Zhao Ming got fired up. "Thanks for the support, folks." He excitedly twisted the throttle. The little scooter shot off with a whoosh. Wu Yu was yanked forward, her legs and arms moving so fast they became a blur. What a rush, how exhilarating. Wu Yu laughed into the wind, feeling not the slightest bit of discomfort. Upon hearing this, Zhao Ming turned his head, met her eyes, and burst into laughter as well. Ha ha ha, what sheer joy. Their happiness was built on Zhao Shan's suffering. In the room, Zhao Shan's labored breathing grew more rapid, punctuated by coughing. Then, something unexpected happened. Zhao Ming and Wu Yu's joy turned to tragedy because Zhao Ming rode irregularly, turning his head while biking. He and his scooter tumbled into a ditch. Bang! Ah! Wu Yu, due to inertia, was flung entirely through the air, but because she was tied with a rope, she was yanked midair and fell into the ditch as well. Ah! Bang! Ah! Zhao Shan's scream echoed through the room. It was the first time I had ever seen such an absurd scene. I was stunned for a moment. First came sympathy, then I remembered they were my enemies, and the sympathy vanished instantly, replaced by a feeling that they hadn't fallen hard enough. It hurts, ouch, that hurts, how is this possible? Ah, someone help. Zhao Shan's bedroom door was not completely closed. Her strong will to survive made her muster the strength to call for help. Her voice came in fits and starts, sometimes loud, sometimes soft. Her mother-in-law was in the master bedroom, and even with the door shut, she still found the noise bothersome. "Zhao Shan, what are you doing out there? It's so noisy." "Huang Qing, go tell her to keep it down. Don't disturb my chat with the girls," I answered loudly. "Fine." Phone in hand, he strolled leisurely toward Zhao Shan's room. The livestream was still going, with Wu Yu and Zhao Ming putting on a show of struggling to survive in a ditch. Zhao Shan's cries for help continued as well. "Help, someone help me. Ugh, ugh." Listening, her will to survive was strong. However, Wu Yu's talent for courting disaster was even stronger. Wu Yu climbed out of the ditch. Unlike Zhao Ming, who was grimacing in pain, she was still full of energy. There wasn't even a single scratch on her body. Netizens expressed amazement. Wu Yu said, "I have a special constitution. Ever since I was young, I've never felt pain, and I never get any wounds from falling down." Netizens were skeptical. Wu Yu said, "Don't doubt me, folks, I can prove it. Watch me smash my head into a ditch for you." With that, she positioned herself head first, ready to jump into the ditch, but she tripped over a small scooter stuck in the ditch and fell flat on the ground. "Ah, that hurts." Her face instantly twisted in pain, a far cry from her earlier claim that she wasn't afraid of pain at all. Realizing how her own words had backfired, she abruptly clamped her mouth shut and exchanged an awkward look with Zhao Ming. The netizens hadn't even had time to process what just happened. The next moment, the live stream cut out. I was stunned. How could Wu Yu feel pain? Could something be wrong with the jade pendant? I hurried into Zhao Shan's room. One look and I saw Zhao Shan lying stiff, her face deathly pale. Was Zhao Shan gone? My heart skipped a beat. Trembling, I reached out and placed my fingers under Zhao Shan's nose. No breath. Zhao Shan was really gone. She couldn't bear the pain of Wu Yu being taken away, and she died. After she died, the jade pendant stopped working. That was why Wu Yu tripped and felt pain just now. My gaze involuntarily fell on the jade pendant around Zhao Shan's neck. I shuddered and yanked my hand back. Such a small, unremarkable thing could easily take a living life. For a moment, My emotions were tangled, but then I thought of my past life and all the suffering it had brought me when Zhao Shan and the others learned the truth. Not only did they refuse to help me, they even thought about binding me the same way. My heart hardened again. I yanked off the jade pendant and walked out of the room. 7. Just as I closed Zhao Shan's bedroom door behind me, Zhao Ming video called me. Ching ching. Did you take off the pendant? Flip your camera around, point it at your neck, and let me see if the pendant is still there. His feigned gentle voice carried a hint of anxiety. Instead of flipping the camera around, I said, Zhao Ming, Shanshan seems to be having heart trouble. She was calling out just now, and my mother-in-law asked me to check on her. Oh, what's there to check on? What could possibly be wrong with her? Did you even wear the jade pendant I gave you? Zhao Ming didn't care one bit about Zhao Shan. His mind was completely on the jade pendant. The gentle tone he usually faked was completely gone now, replaced by nothing but impatience. I shook my head and let out a silent, cold laugh. She regretted her poor judgment of character in her past life, having failed to realize that Zhao Ming was such a cold-blooded person. I'm wearing the jade pendant, but my phone's front camera is broken, so I won't show you, I said indifferently. Zhao Ming still refused to give up. Then turn your phone around, the rear camera will work just fine. I glanced at my phone. Wuya's livestream was still disconnected. I figured they wouldn't continue the livestream until they confirmed I was wearing the life-swapping jade pendant. Fine. I placed the life-swapping jade pendant on the table, took out the fake one from my pocket, and put it on with one hand. Then, I flipped my phone over. Zhao Ming finally breathed a sigh of relief. Good. As long as you're wearing it. A faint rustling sound came from the other end, followed by Wuya's hushed, barely audible voice. Why, does it hurt? I didn't catch everything, but I could guess well enough. She must be asking why she still felt pain even though I was wearing the pendant. Of course, it's because the one I'm wearing is fake. Not giving Zhao Ming a chance to ask, I let out 2 howls into the phone's microphone. Ouch. Zhao Ming, I don't know what's wrong with me today. My muscles have been aching, and I'm so tired. It feels like I've run for miles, or maybe fallen into a pit. Zhao Ming coughed twice, afraid I might make a connection to the jade pendant, and quickly changed the subject. You definitely haven't rested enough. Go back to your room now and get a good sleep. Oh, and remember not to take off that jade pendant. I specially got it for you as a blessing. It's meant to keep you safe. Yeah, right, more like keeping it on is what's unsafe. I mumbled a vague reply, used needing to rest as an excuse, and hung up. Picking up the life-swapping jade pendant from the table, I wondered who to go after next. My mother-in-law suddenly opened the bedroom door, walked out, and started laying into me. I don't know what you're just standing there for. Useless day after day, 3 years with my aiming, 3 days married, and not a sign of a pregnancy, and on the weekend, you can't even take care of Zhao Shan properly, letting that wild girl scream and yell, disturbing my chat with the ladies. That's you. I let it all go in one ear and out the other, deliberately fiddling with the jade pendant in my hand. Sure enough, my mother-in-law's attention was immediately caught. What are you holding? A jade pendant? Where did it come from? Did you waste money on it again? I shook my head. No, Zhao Ming bought it. He said he wanted to give it to. It's for me, isn't it? My mother-in-law cut in at once and snatched the jade pendant away eagerly. She held the pendant, examining it from side to side, over and over again, looking absolutely delighted with it. Then, smiling with relief and pride, she said, beautiful, truly beautiful. After all these years, Aiming finally remembers to give me a gift. A biological child really knows how to care for his mother, unlike some people. Was it really something to be proud of? Buying his mother a gift for the first time at 30 years old, she completely ignored all the high-end skincare products I bought her over the years, and then she got that excited just because she thought the jade pendant was from Zhao Ming. Is this really the bond of blood? I don't understand. I think it's probably because I'm an orphan, but I feel that even as an orphan, I'm still better off than Zhao Ming. After all, this jade pendant wasn't even given to grandma by Zhao Ming in the first place. Zhao Ming just isn't up to it. He's not filial enough, but that's alright. Seeing how happy grandma is, I'll just give it to her on Zhao Ming's behalf. I've taken on the outsourced filial piety, so I smiled and said, yes, it's for you. Go ahead and put it on. 8. My mother-in-law fastened the jade pendant in a second. She admired herself in the mirror for a long while before remembering she had invited her old friends over for tea. Humph. Those old friends of mine always say my son never buys me gifts. This time, they're going to be green with envy. Huang Qing, don't just stand there. Hurry up and bring out the roses I picked myself in Yunnan. I'm going to brew some tea with them. After saying this to me, my mother-in-law happily went off to call her friends over. I opened the cabinet and took out the roses my mother-in-law had plucked from the roadside tree lawn in Yunnan. Soon, her friends arrived. The four of them sat together on the sofa. This time, my mother-in-law didn't ask me to make tea. She did it herself. She showed off the tea-making skills she'd learned from a short video, brewing a cup of rose tea for her friends and herself. I have to say, it smelled quite lovely, but no one praised her, because while making the tea, her hands kept trembling. She nearly broke a cup or scalded her friends more than once, and now, the tea in front of her friends isn't even the same shade of color. It's either not deep at all, or way too shallow. The sister who tried the first tea frowned. So bitter. Is this really rose tea? The sister who drank the pale tea blinked. This has no taste at all. The mother-in-law didn't seem embarrassed at all. She insisted the sisters just weren't used to fine things until she took a sip herself. Slurp. She paused for a moment, silently pushing the teacup away from behind. I heard her muttering to herself, strange, I just don't feel right, kind of off. That must be why my tea ceremony skills are suffering. After that, she started showing off her jade pendant to the other ladies. When they wanted to hold it for a closer look, she refused and insisted they lean in to see it instead. I looked down and saw Wuya's livestream come back on. She bounced in energetically and jumped up and down several times. Hey guys, I'm back. So, that just now, I was just kidding. I'm not afraid of pain or getting tired at all. Really, I've been strong since I was a kid, not like ordinary people. To be honest, I suspect I'm Iron Man Reborn. This challenge, I'm actually doing it to find my own limits. So, don't go easy on me, give me all kinds of challenges. Some viewers got excited. Really, I see a pond right next to you. If you swim 10 laps in it, I'll believe you. Deal. Wuya lowered her head and was about to charge forward. Zhao Ming stopped her. Swimming is nothing special. I also see a water cave over there. How about you try cave diving without any gear? If you want to see that, folks, hit that like button and follow me. Cave diving, one of the world's most extreme sports, extremely dangerous. Accidents are likely even with proper gear. For online views, Zhao Ming even suggested that Wuya attempt cave diving without equipment. Truly, nothing is more treacherous than a person's heart. Isn't he afraid something might happen to Wuya, or that the jade pendant might suddenly fail? And yet, Wuya actually agreed. In one swift motion, she peeled off her outer clothes, leaving only her cool undergarments, and began warming up. Hey everyone, Xiaoya is warming up now. If you like it, feel free to drop a like or send a tip. Her warm-up routine was a bit inappropriate and went on for quite a while. I couldn't help but frown. Just then, after showing off the jade pendant, my mother-in-law started boasting about Zhao Ming. You have no idea, my Amin is so talented. He started his own company, and guess what? The employee he hired, Wuya, is a big internet celebrity. 9. Upon hearing this, the husband's sisters became intrigued. Wow, really, a major influencer? That is pretty impressive, the mother-in-law said proudly. Of course it's true, Aiming said he'll be live streaming all day with a big influencer today. The sisters immediately clamored to watch the live stream. I raised an eyebrow and timely leaned in with my phone. This is it, right? On the screen, Wuya was just spreading her legs and bending backward to stretch in front of the camera. The older sister's eyes widened the moment they saw it. What the heck? This is so indecent. Why is this person doing the splits in just a pair of shorts? Xiao Yuan, is this the big internet celebrity working at your Zhao Ming's company? Is Zhao Ming's business even legitimate or not? They kept condemning her. Her mother-in-law, utterly humiliated, snapped at me angrily. Huang Qing, what kind of people did you find? Are you deliberately trying to embarrass me? I shook my head innocently. No, mother-in-law, I did exactly as you said. This is Zhao Ming's employee. Wuya, you're lying. I've met that girl Wuya, and she's nothing like this. She's gentle and dignified, and she even has feelings for our Aiming. She would never do something so shameless. I used to think that the first time my mother-in-law met Wuya was in the hospital room in my past life. I never expected that my mother-in-law had already met Wuya. Not only that, she also knew that Wuya had feelings for Zhao Ming and that they were going out together today to do a live stream. So, did she already know that Zhao Ming and Wuya were having an affair? I glanced at my mother-in-law with a blank expression and said sarcastically, the streamer has turned around. It's the gentle and generous Wuya you like. The mother-in-law paused for a moment, then argued defensively, that just looks like her. Anyway, Wuya would never do something like that. My son's company is definitely legitimate. Her sisters suddenly leaned in, pointing at the phone and said, that woman has gone into the water, and there's a man behind her. Zhao Ming, Xiao Yuan, look, that's your son Zhao Ming. Yes, that Woman must be Wu Ye, you're Zhao Ming's employee." The mother-in-law took a look, and sure enough, it was him. She didn't want to admit it. As luck would have it, Zhao Ming was over there explaining and introducing himself to everyone. Now there was no room for excuses. The mother-in-law's face darkened, and she chose to remain silent. Her old friends were also there, mocking her. Zhao Ming and Wu Ye on the side, frustrated and annoyed. The mother-in-law picked up the rose tea on the table and took a big gulp, not even caring whether it tasted good or not, whether it was because she was in too much of a hurry or for some other reason. My mother-in-law suddenly choked on her water. Cough, cough. I looked over. Her face turned blue in an instant, as if someone were gripping her throat. Her arms flailed wildly in the air. Her mouth gaped open, sputtering out indistinct sounds, unable to form a single complete word. Then she fell straight back, her face turning an ashen gray. It was as if she had drowned. The mother-in-law's sisters were all stunned. I quickly glanced at the live stream. I saw that Wu Ye had gotten ashore at some point, and was now shivering in Zhao Ming's arms. Her face was pale, and her voice trembled as she spoke. "SC scared me to death. I really thought I was going to, but that's not right, didn't I already?" Zhao Ming looked at her, visibly confused. "Exactly, I clearly helped you." His voice trailed off as they both turned to look at the camera. The next moment, the live stream cut out again. "What's going on at Shou Yuan?" One of the mother-in-law's sisters suddenly spoke up in fear, breaking the silence. I snapped back to reality and rushed forward anxiously. Mother-in-law, what's wrong with you?" 10. I knew it. My mother-in-law was already gone, because the look on Wu Ye's face just now clearly showed she was in great pain. This proved that the jade pendant had lost its effect because its bonded owner had died. I understood in my heart. On the surface, though, she still wore an expression of urgency. One of the mother-in-law's sisters stepped forward, trying to wake her by pinching her philtrum, but as soon as she reached out her finger, she let out a shriek and stumbled back repeatedly. "Shou Yuan, she stopped breathing." The other two sisters exchanged a glance and said in disbelief, "Gone just like that? How could it be so sudden?" "Yeah. Did Zhao Ming's choice of friends drive her to her death from sheer anger?" My eyes lit up, and I choked out through sobs. "Zhao Ming, oh, Zhao Ming, how could you run a shady company like that?" Your poor mother choked to death on a sip of water from the shock. I let myself relive all the suffering from my past life. At last, the tears began to fall, pattering down one after another. The sisters couldn't help but sigh and grieve. "Oh dear, that Zhao Ming is absolutely disgraceful. Who would have thought that after living most of her life, Shou Yuan would end up being driven to her death by her own son?" The world is unpredictable, and life is fragile. All of us should cherish every single day we have. The front door stood wide open. My wailing cries alarmed quite a few neighbors. For a moment, the area in front of my house felt like a bustling marketplace. Shock, lament, disbelief, sighs of regret, all kinds of voices lingered nearby. My father-in-law, who was visiting the widow next door, heard the commotion and hurried back. "What are you all doing crowding around my front door? Your wife is dead," a neighbor said. "Nonsense. How dare you talk like that? Your wife is the one who's dead." The father-in-law angrily pushed the neighbor aside and walked in. Then he saw his wife lying lifeless on the floor. He staggered backward and would have fallen if the neighbor hadn't caught him. "Huang Qing, is Shou Yuan, father-in-law, mother-in-law has passed away," I said, my eyes reddening. What? My father-in-law looked as if he had been struck by lightning. His legs gave way, and he collapsed to the ground. Wailing bitterly, he crawled toward her. "Shou Yuan, oh, Shou Yuan, how could you leave me like this? I haven't even had lunch yet." I looked away. He then fell to the ground, beating it and wailing. "I didn't even do yesterday's laundry." The mother-in-law's sisters couldn't stand it anymore. "Zhao Yaotian, what's wrong with you? Shou Yuan is gone, and you're still expecting her to do your chores. Shou Yuan was driven to death by your son." "Exactly. Why don't you call back that unfilial son of yours?" The father-in-law was stunned. "Ming, what does this have to do with Ming?" I spoke up to explain. "The company Zhao Ming runs isn't legitimate. He and we are doing borderline live streams, and his mother-in-law saw them. I just polished it a little." The neighbors immediately started murmuring in disdain. My father-in-law glared at me. "Impossible. I know Ming's company. They do challenge live streams. We've even had dinner with Wu Ye several times. She's a decent girl." "You've had dinner with her several times?" My father-in-law was stumped by my question, and a look of regret crossed his face. The curiosity in the neighbors' eyes grew even more pronounced. Some neighbors even speculated, "Zhao Ming must be cheating on Wu Ye. Zhao Yaotian and the others have known all along and are covering for him, right?" The sisters of my mother-in-law felt even more pity for me. "Huang Qing takes care of Zhao Ming's whole family. Yet Zhao Ming is fooling around with another woman, exactly. And behind Huang Qing's back, he's gone off to do that shady live streaming. Zhao Yaotian's whole family is so shameless, poor Huang Qing has really suffered. The onlookers were incredibly supportive. I cried even harder. A few people were moved by me, their eyes turning red as well. For a moment, I felt like I could be a movie queen surrounded by a group of neighbors who were condemning him. My father-in-law's face fell. Humiliated and furious, he yelled at me, "Stop crying, all you know how to do is cry, you're an embarrassment." Instead of blaming Zhao Ming, they fault me, the victim. He's really losing his mind with age. He might have no shame, but I still do. I sniffled and tried to say something, then my phone rang first. It was Zhao Ming again. Knowing why he was calling me, I just put him on speaker. "Huang Qing, are you even wearing the jade pendant I gave you?" "I knew it, woo-woo." "Zhao Ming, your mom is gone." 11. Zhao Ming was furious. "Huang Qing, if you don't want to answer, just say so. Why curse my mom like that?" "That's not it. Your mom really. I'm asking you one last time. Did you wear the jade pendant I gave you or not? Don't dodge the question, or I'll divorce you." Divorcing him now would be letting him off too easy. Of course I don't want to. "Yes, I'm wearing it." "Zhao Ming, listen to me. Your mom really." Before I could finish, Zhao Ming cut me off and said, "Then send me a video right now. I need to see you wearing the jade pendant." Then, he hung up in a hurry. I quickly recorded a video of myself wearing the fake jade pendant and also took a photo of my mother-in-law's deceased face to send him. But then, he replied with a voice message, "Xiaoya was right. You went as far as conspiring with my mom to lie to me just to trick me into coming home." "Huang Qing, why can't you be more understanding? I work really hard out here. Be sensible and take good care of my family. Don't bother me, okay?" The neighbors could hardly believe it. What's going on with Zhao Ming? A jade pendant matters more to him than his own mother. Damn it, is Zhao Ming out of his mind? Someone who couldn't stand it tagged Zhao Ming in the owner's group chat. Instead, he was met with a harsh scolding from Zhao Ming. Everyone was speechless, unable to understand why Zhao Ming had turned out like this. The father-in-law could hardly believe it and felt deeply embarrassed. This unfilial son. He took the initiative to call Zhao Ming and demanded that he come back immediately. Zhao Ming's attitude toward his father-in-law was much better, but he still refused to come home. "Dad, I'm really busy right now. Xiaoya and I are doing a very challenging live stream. If we pull it off, I'll gain tons of followers, become a real internet celebrity, buy you a luxury car and a mansion, and get you a gift to give to Aunt Liang next door." Hee. At the mention of Aunt Liang, the father-in-law's face broke into a lecherous grin. He didn't even notice when Zhao Ming hung up the phone. I sneered. It was the contemptuous stares from the people around that finally snapped the father-in-law back to his senses. The father-in-law, embarrassed, quickly changed the subject. "Ahem, where is Shanshan? Her mother is in such a big crisis." "Where is she?" "In her room." "What is she doing in her room at a time like this?" "Huang Qing, don't you know to go call her out?" I said. "What kind of daughter-in-law are you? Are you trying to anger me to death?" If I were to call Zhao Shan out, he would be scared to death. Instead, where no one was looking, I pursed my lips. Then, I ran to Zhao Shan's room. After letting out a scream, I ran back out with a sorrowful look on my face. Shan is gone too." The father-in-law was shocked. "What?" He quickly rushed into the room. The neighbors followed along and suddenly flooded our house. A few of them nearly stepped on my mother-in-law. Luckily, her sisters shielded her, sparing her from the indignity of being trampled even in death. Soon, the room echoed with my father-in-law's anguished wails. Shanshan, how could you leave too?" 12. A makeshift funeral scene. Having suddenly lost both his wife and daughter, and still unable to reach his son, the father-in-law was devastated, his face etched with despair. He took his anger out on me. "Huang Qing, it must be you, you jinx. 3 days after joining this family, you've already killed your mother-in-law and sister-in-law. What a curse on this household. I knew back then I should never have agreed to let Ming marry you. If I had known better back then, I definitely wouldn't have married Zhao Ming either." I felt nothing but disdain. Zhao Ming caused me to die with him in my past life, and in this one, he's already caused the deaths of his aunt and his mother. Soon, he'll be the death of his father too. If you ask me, Zhao Ming is the real jinx. The neighbors think so too. "Zhao Yaotian, your wife died from the anger Zhao Ming caused, and Zhao Shan followed her." Rounding it up, Zhao Ming is the one who killed them both. Exactly. Zhao Ming is so unfilial. His wife and daughter are in trouble, but all he cares about is live streaming with some female streamer. If it weren't for Huang Qing, this family of yours would have fallen apart long ago. I gave her a grateful look and gave a thumbs up to the neighbor in my heart. My father-in-law had nothing to say. His face turned from pale to white, then to green. In the end, he simply stopped talking, sat there wallowing in the past, lamenting his fate, and pretending to be a brooding, sentimental old man. He knows how to pretend, so do I. I forced myself to hold back my grief, putting on a grateful and welcoming face for the neighbors who had just helped carry my mother-in-law and sister-in-law over. One neighbor thought the situation was untenable and suggested I find a way to call Zhao Ming back. I thought to myself, having Zhao Ming around would be worse than not having him at all. Still, I made a few calls and sent a few messages. After all, my father-in-law is still alive and well. I need to see him off on his final journey so he can reunite with my mother-in-law as soon as possible. Zhao Ming still didn't reply. No matter. I opened the live stream this time. Zhao Ming and Wu Yu weren't taking on any challenges, just chatting casually with the audience. That explains it. The life-swapping jade pendant is still with my mother-in-law, and Zhao Ming hasn't called. I left a comment in the live stream. Zhao Ming, your mom and sister are gone. You need to come home now. Zhao Ming's smile instantly twisted into a glare, and he cursed me for talking nonsense. Wu Yu furrowed her brow too, scolding me for putting a curse on them, and then muted me. The neighbors had all left. Only a few people remained, scattered around looking at their phones. The old man sighed constantly, complaining about this and that. Ugh, I'm so annoyed and upset. He suddenly stood up and started to walk out. I quickly tried to stop him. Father, no way. I hadn't even given him the life-swapping jade pendant yet. Luckily, Father noticed it himself. Where did that jade pendant Xiao Yuan is wearing come from? The quality looks pretty good. Since Xiao Yuan is gone, this thing is no longer useful. I'll keep it as a memento. No, as something to remember her by, my father-in-law said, then took off the life-swapping jade pendant. Then, under my gaze, he put it on himself and said, as if to hide his guilt, I want to wear this pendant close to my heart, so it feels like Xiao Yuan has never really left me. His voice was deep and affected, playing the devoted lover once again, but I had a feeling he was probably going to give that pendant to Auntie Liang instead. Keep an eye on things here. I'm going to use the restroom and take a little walk. My father-in-law left those words behind and walked out with his hands clasped behind his back. I breathed a sigh of relief. I quickly found a quiet corner and continued watching the live stream. This spot was some distance from Aunt Liang's house. I had to hurry, so that my father-in-law wouldn't drag any innocent people into this. I was silenced, so I registered a new account and left a comment. Why just chat without a challenge? Boring. Bring on a challenge. And I sent a few rocket gifts. Wu Yu's eyes lit up the moment she saw them. Thanks for the rockets, my friend. Challenge accepted. What kind of challenge do you want to see? Zhao Ming looked around and fixed his gaze on a freezer. Got it. How about freezing myself in a freezer? 13. The two hit it off right away. Wu Yu planned to get a 0-degree freezer and stay inside for a day. Zhao Ming, however, went straight for minus 60 degrees, giving her a real challenge. I was absolutely stunned. In her previous life, her father-in-law had once mentioned wanting to take on the challenge of crossing the Altai Trail. She never expected it would come true in this life, just in a different way. Even if what's about to happen is the consequence of a failed crossing, still, isn't that a dream come true in its own way? Before long, someone suddenly shouted outside, "Ah, Zhao Yao Tian, why are you acting like a pervert?" I rushed outside. As soon as I got out, I saw my father-in-law taking off his clothes while muttering to himself, "So cold, no, so hot, I'm burning up." It turned out he was suffering from hypothermia. My mother-in-law's old friend stood across from him, exclaiming that it was an eyesore and furiously scolding him. They said that only days after my mother-in-law's death, my father-in-law couldn't contain himself and was stripping down in public. The sisters' husbands, however, felt provoked. Cursing under their breath, they stepped forward to strike their father-in-law, but just as they surrounded him, before they could make a move, someone shouted, "Something's wrong." The crowd quickly scattered. The father-in-law's body went rigid, and he fell naked to the ground. The neighbors stepped back in shock. It was my turn to step up. I opened my mouth. "Father-in-law." No sooner had I begun to wail than Zhao Ming's call came through. "Huang Qing, are you wearing the jade pendant?" I glanced at my phone screen. In the live stream, Wu Yu was shivering inside the freezer, unable to get out. She pounded on the glass, shouting for Zhao Ming to come back and let her out, but Zhao Ming had run off elsewhere to call me. "Huang Qing, did you take off the jade pendant? Put it back on right now." "Only a fool would wear that," I sobbed. "Zhao Ming, please come back. Your parents and your little sister, they're all gone." Zhao Ming sneered. "Huang Qing, you're lying to me again, and this time you've dragged my dad and my sister into it. You, a relative from the husband's family." Unable to listen any longer, cut in sharply, Zhao Ming, I'm your cousin, Huang Qing isn't lying, something terrible has happened to your family, get back here right now. That's right, Ah Ming, it's your uncle, what Huang Qing said is true. Several relatives spoke up one after another. Zhao Ming was stunned and panicked. He turned to run back, but only remembered Wu Ye, who was still freezing. When he heard the freezer topple over after rescuing Wu Ye, he hurried back, seeing his father, mother, and younger sister lying neatly on the ground. Zhao Ming looked as if struck by lightning, his face ashen. How could this happen? Dad, Mom, Shan. Wu, he burst into sorrowful, loud crying. As he cried, he suddenly turned to look at me. No, Huang Qing, are you behind this? You killed Mom, Dad, and Shan, didn't you? I shook my head, my face a mixture of confusion and grief. Zhao Ming, what are you talking about? I don't understand. I'm sad about your parents too, so how can you say something like that to me? The neighbors had already left, but because my father-in-law suddenly passed away, they came back. Seeing this, they all stepped forward to protect me and cursed Zhao Ming for being inhuman. They said I had done my best and looked for him several times, but he chose not to come back, so he had no right to blame me. If he really needed to blame someone, he should blame himself. That's not true. Zhao Ming found himself at a loss for words. He gritted his teeth and actually brought up the jade pendant. It's Huang Qing. She must have found out that I gave her the life swap jade pendant, the one that makes her bear the harm meant for me, so now she wants revenge. She's going to hurt my family. I immediately put on a frightened look and tearfully cried out, Zhao Ming, the first gift you gave me after our wedding, and it's something so cruel. How could you do this to me? The neighbor paused for a moment, then cursed out Zhao Ming even more harshly. Someone couldn't help themselves and quietly stepped forward to land a few kicks on Zhao Ming. Watching Zhao Ming's helpless expression brought me a surge of satisfaction. Only after the neighbor had exhausted himself from shouting and hitting did the noise stop. Then, as if just awakened, I stepped forward, spread my hands, and said, everyone, stop blaming Zhao Ming. I believe him. He must have spoken out of momentary sadness. Otherwise, if the jade pendant really had a curse, why am I still perfectly fine while wearing it? With that, I took off the fake jade pendant from my neck and held it up. Zhao Ming immediately lunged forward, grabbing the jade pendant to examine it. I wasn't the least bit worried, because the fake jade pendant looked exactly like the real one. Even I had marveled at it for a long time when I first got it. As for the real life-swapping pendant, I had hidden it away long ago. Zhao Ming studied it back and forth but couldn't find anything wrong, growing more and more frustrated. How could this be? Wasn't it said that wearing the pendant would transfer the damage? Then why? I said casually, almost as if to myself, what if the medium that transfers harm isn't the jade pendant, but something else? Zhao Ming jolted awake. Wu Ye, that damn bitch, she must have tricked me. With a furious shout, he bolted out of the memorial hall. He was going to get revenge on Wu Ye using the excuse that I was worried Zhao Ming might do something reckless. I hurried off after him. He went to the hospital. Wu Ye was lying on the hospital bed, hooked up to an IV drip. Zhao Ming believed Wu Ye was responsible for his family's death and wanted revenge. As soon as he approached, he struck Wu Ye several times. Wu Ye was stunned. Then, thinking it was Zhao Ming who had caused her frostbite, she struck him back several times. They went back and forth, and a fight broke out. I felt a surge of relief, but in the bustling hospital, I still waved my hands frantically and shouted with urgency, stop fighting, please stop. Zhao Ming and Wu Yali completely ignored me. They fought on in a fury. As they struggled, they accidentally tumbled out a window and fell to their deaths, dying the same way as in my previous life. Maybe this is just fate. It just means one more person, Zhao Ming, to be cremated. I contacted the crematorium on the spot and saw off Zhao Ming and his family of 4. After the jade pendant was also burned, I finally let go of the worry I had been holding on to. Soon after, I swiftly completed the inheritance procedures, sold the house, and set off to travel the country. Standing on the streets of Cloud City in the warm spring bloom, sunlight pours down. Looking at the savings in my bank account, my once empty heart suddenly felt full and warm. The end. Story 2. In this lifetime, I've avoided every possibility of being with Shen Jizhou. While he accompanied his widowed sister-in-law to prenatal checkups, I stayed home preparing for my transfer exam. When he brought his pregnant sister-in-law to live with him, I took up permanent residence at school. He gave up his frontier post for easier caregiving, so I applied for a transfer to the Northwest Research Institute. In my past life, the 2 children I painstakingly raised both urged me to let Shen Jizhou have his way. This lifetime, I left a divorce agreement and walked away with nothing. Joining the National Aerospace Classified Program, they chase their true love. I defend my country. I sat in the school conference room with a transfer application on the table. Seated across was a composed, dignified man whose military bearing remained ramrod straight even while sitting. He was one of the military overseers for the classified National Space Program. Dr. Jiang, are you absolutely certain about remaining at the university? Your expertise is vital to our nation. I believe you didn't risk life and limb taking over a dozen connecting flights back home, nearly dying on that journey, just to end up as some mediocre professor here. That man's velvety voice echoed in my ears again. My tears nearly spilled over. Without thinking, I blurted out the exact opposite answer from my past life. I accept the transfer. Seeing my signature on the application, the man's stern expression softened. The corners of his tightly pressed lips lifted slightly. While you're on our shortlist, we still expect you to take the exam in 2 weeks. Seriously, the principal sitting nearby still wanted to keep me and couldn't help saying, Dr. Jiang, didn't you say your husband and home are both here? You wouldn't want to be too far from him, would you? When couples are separated by distance, their feelings inevitably fade over time. He knew how deeply I loved Shinjizhou, which is why he said that. That's precisely why I declined the conscription in my past life. But in this lifetime, I looked the principal in the eye and spoke with deliberate clarity. Principal, my country nurtured me. Whenever she needs me, I'll march through fire without hesitation. Only with a nation can there be homes. The principal turned pale, then flushed, utterly speechless for a long moment. The officer who'd been persuading me earlier was now looking at me with approving, intense eyes. His gaze made me uncomfortable, so I excused myself and left. Stepping out of the school, I stared blankly at the transfer application in my hands, my mind still in a daze. In my past life, I even lost my university professorship to Han Yuan in the end. Han Yuan was the widowed sister-in-law of Magistrate Shen. When Magistrate Shen's elder brother died, Han Yuan was pregnant with his posthumous child. The entire Shen family tearfully begged her to keep the baby. For this reason, Magistrate Shen voluntarily took full responsibility. He took Han Yuan into his home, loving her child as his own. He mistreated me and neglected our children. He confined me to this tiny home, forcing me to raise 2 kids and serve his parents. Yet he shielded Han Yuan, letting her spread her wings. Later, Han Yuan transferred to a better school, and he followed her there. I nodded. Left alone in our hometown, I struggled single-handedly to raise our 2 children. I watched as they grew from depending on me to gradually drifting away, step by step following Shen Zhizhou to Han Yuan's side. They adored Han Yuan's elegant intellect, admired her professor status, and preferred calling her mother. Yet when referring to me, they simply say her. But everyone forgets, Han Yuan's current glory was built by bleeding me dry. By the time I'd seen my parents to their rest, I'd grown old myself. The 2 children I raised kept urging me to set Shen Zhizhou free. Jiang Yi, you're just a vulgar housewife while my father is a distinguished engineer. You've been holding him back all along. Get a divorce. Dad and Aunt Han are perfect for each other. I want to properly call her mom for once. The child I labored 3 days and nights to bring into this world won't even call me mom in my old age, yet dreams daily of addressing another woman as mother. What gives her the right? What gives them the right? Han Yuan stole that professorship right from under me. I was the one who cared for Shen Zhizhou's parents in their twilight years. I raised both Han Yuan's son and my own daughter through thick and thin, while Governor Shen and Han Yuan were enjoying air-conditioned Western meals with music in the big city. Their daughter fell from a tree and broke her leg. I carried her barefoot for miles under the scorching summer heat, my feet blistering, terrified that any delay might leave her disabled, ruining her future and life. I've sacrificed everything for this family, and after all that, these bloodsuckers drained me dry, took my whole life, only to kick me to the curb. He blames me. They blame me. Everyone's blaming me. They all say I'm unworthy, that I'm holding Magistrate Shen back too. They stabbed me in the back with their words, forcing me to let go. But I refuse. Even in death, I'll drag Shen Zhizhou down with me. When I'm buried, Shen Zhizhou's name will be carved on my tombstone. The backbreaking labor of my youth and years of pent-up resentment eventually took their toll on my health. Before long, I was confined to a sickbed. Not once did Magistrate Shen bother to visit me the entire time. Even my own daughter turned her back on me. She only called occasionally, urging me to get a divorce. The last time, I answered her call half asleep. After talking at me for over an hour and getting no response, she flew into a rage and started berating me. My trembling hands fumbled the blood pressure medication, sending the bottle crashing to the floor with pills scattering everywhere. Weakly, I tried to ask her to call an ambulance for me. My daughter hung up in fury. The last words I heard before dying were her cursing me to death. I struggled and fell off the bed, my body crashing onto the scattered white pills covering the floor. In my final moments, I felt nothing but regret for ever marrying for having children, for sacrificing my entire life for others. When I opened my eyes again, I'd been reborn to the exact moment before rejecting the National Aerospace Secrecy Program. This time, I resolutely vowed to dedicate my entire life to the nation, devoting myself to lovers or children could still end in betrayal, but my country will never fail me. When I got home, dusk was falling, and Shin Jizho still hadn't returned. Then I remembered he was accompanying Han Yuan to her prenatal checkup today. Last time, I went along to the hospital, only to end up trailing behind carrying all their things while he walked arm in arm with Han Yuan. To everyone else, they looked like the couple. I might as well have been their maid. Professor Han, your husband is so devoted, accompanying you to every prenatal checkup. I'm absolutely envious. The nurse's words pierced my brain like a needle. I flew into a rage on the spot and had a screaming match with the nurse. Shin Jizho simultaneously found me embarrassing yet rushed to comfort the startled Han Yuan. In the end, he actually abandoned me and left with Han Yuan in his arms, her belly visibly moving with their unborn child. That's how Han Yuan seized the opportunity to move into my home under the pretense of needing prenatal care. Shin Jizho used the excuse that I'd frightened Han Yuan to force me into taking leave and tending to her pregnancy. Because of this, I completely missed out on that national project. I'll never give them another chance in this lifetime. Instead of cooking and waiting for Shin Jizho like usual, I started packing my belongings. Even if Shin Jizho didn't use Han Yuan's pregnancy as an excuse this time, I'd still refuse to live with him. With just 3 days left until the transfer exam, I need peace and quiet to focus on my studies, to stop Han Yuan from constantly dropping by for free meals, nitpicking everything, and making snide remarks about me mistreating her. Just as I finished tidying up, Shin Jizho indeed brought Han Yuan home, followed by my mother-in-law carrying a huge bag of prenatal medicine. The moment she stepped inside, Han Yuan cradled her belly and started nagging. Sis-in-law, did you make my favorite sweet and sour ribs today? Last time the caramel was burnt. Don't let that happen again. I cut her off mid-sentence with a flat response. I won't cook. Make whatever you want yourself. Before Han Yuan could speak, my mother-in-law scowled and scolded me. Jiang Yi, what's wrong with you? You come home and don't even cook, just waiting for Jizho to work all day and then come back to make dinner for you. This household doesn't revolve around the magistrate alone. Don't just sit around waiting to be fed. We don't keep freeloaders here. Coming from a rural background, I've always been disliked by my city-bred mother-in-law who looks down on country folk. She much prefers Han Yuan, born into an educated family, overseas educated, and most importantly, the one who gave the Shin family an heir. I once bent over backwards to please them, enduring every humiliation, only to be met with their intensified contempt. But none of that matters now. We'll just be strangers from here on out. I didn't want to argue anymore, just watched for Shin Jizho's reaction. As my husband, he should know better than anyone who's been cooking and keeping this household running every day. Yet Shin Jizho didn't defend me, not even with a single word. He urged me with a flat yet slightly impatient tone, go make dinner. I let out a hollow laugh, all my anger already drained. This isn't just my house. Stop waiting to be served every day. We don't keep freeloaders here. With that, I turned and walked into the room, ignoring the varying shades of displeasure on their faces. I kept my head down and continued organizing my belongings. The thin walls couldn't muffle the brief argument outside before silence returned. The door creaked open and shut as Shin Jizho entered. He saw me packing without a word, just softly scolding me. What's gotten into you today? My mother raised me all by herself. It wasn't easy. Besides, sis-in-law's pregnant with a delicate condition. Don't startle her. I dropped the folded clothes in my hands and jerked my head up to glare at Shin Jizho. Your mother didn't just start having a hard time after we got married. If you were truly filial, she wouldn't be struggling like this. That baby in your sister-in-law's belly isn't mine. I've got no obligation to cater to her every whim. This is my house. If she's scared of me, she can go hide at home. It's not like I'll chase after her there. My words left Prefect Shin utterly speechless for a long moment. He seemed stunned by this uncharacteristic outburst from someone usually so mild-mannered. Standing frozen in shock, after what felt like an eternity, he finally murmured, Jiang Yi, when did you become so aggressive? I shot him a glance, refusing to fall into the self-justification trap, and instead countered with a question. Do you also think today was my fault? Shin Jizho remained silent for a long while before changing the subject. I just think with eldest brother gone, sister-in-law is pitiful carrying the child alone. Now I'm the only one who can hold this family together. We're family. I should look after her more. I couldn't care less about what Shin Jizho wants to do. That's his call. Seeing my silence, Shin Jizho shook his head and reluctantly said, if you don't like it, I'll handle the cooking from now on. As he spoke, He gave my sleeve another tug. Dinner's ready, come eat. What first caught my attention about Shin Jizho wasn't his delicate features or his intellect. It was simply how delicious his cooking was. These days, few men can cook, and even fewer can cook this well. In the early days of our relationship, Shin Jizho always did the cooking. In moments of tenderness, he'd blush and whisper to me, "Jiang-yi, I want to cook for you for the rest of my life." But later, between his busy work schedule and helping his elder brother's family, Shin Jizho gradually stopped cooking. I can't even remember when was the last time he made me a meal. At least have one last meal before leaving. I told myself this as I followed Shin Jizho out of the room. Mother-in-law and Han Yuan had already started eating without me, the atmosphere warm and pleasant. The two women served each other dishes, a picture of familial harmony. The table was set with 4 dishes and 3 bowls of rice. Both the mother-in-law and Han Yuan were holding a bowl each. The last bowl was meant for Magistrate Shin, only mine was missing. My arrival instantly chilled the atmosphere. It felt like the 3 of them were the real family, while I was just an unwelcome intruder. I suddenly lost my appetite and turned to leave. Shin Jizho stepped behind me, supporting my arm as he guided me to the stool. "Have mine, I'll go get another bowl." Shin Jizho went into the kitchen and never came out. Both mother-in-law and Han Yuan put down their chopsticks, so I left my bowl of plain rice untouched. Sure enough, mother-in-law spoke to me. "Jiang-yi, you and Jizho haven't had children all these years. Why don't you quit your job and focus on starting a family? As for your position, Han Yuan happens to be looking for a career change. Let her take over your duties." Her tone remained dripping with condescension, as though I'd stolen something that wasn't rightfully mine, and she was merely restoring the natural order. 3. In my past life, when Han Yuan nearly miscarried, the entire family pinned the blame on me. Magistrate Shin even forced me to hand over my severance pay to Han Yuan. My entire life was trapped in the Shin household, drained to the bone, leaving nothing but a hollow shell. I'd done nothing wrong in this life, yet my mother-in-law still had the audacity to demand things from me outright. Clearly, the whole family had this scheme planned from the very beginning. I certainly can't agree to that. How am I supposed to support my family without a job? The mother-in-law said it as a matter of course. Isn't the magistrate still there? Prefect Shin earns 200 a month, 50 goes to you, 130 to Han Yuan, leaving us with barely 20, and now you expect me to get pregnant? Should our family of 3 live on thin air? My mother-in-law frowned and scolded me disapprovingly. Country folk and their petty calculations. Since when do family members nickel and dime each other? Is money all you can think about? I replied calmly. Mother-in-law, you've got your pension. Han Yuan receives her brother's survivor benefits plus her salary, not to mention Shin Jizho's monthly allowance. People who want for nothing can afford to be generous. I'm the one counting pennies while Han Yuan was dining like royalty. I was pinching every penny. When Han Yuan splurged on imported cosmetics and designer outfits, I was budgeting our household expenses to the last dime. While Han Yuan was buying a piano for her daughter and hiring tutors, I was budgeting to replace our kitchen stove. Seeing my determination, my mother-in-law issued an ultimatum. "I'll personally deliver your resignation letter to your office tomorrow. You're staying home this year to give me a grandchild, or I'll make Jizho divorce you." As my mother-in-law spoke, Han Yuan sat silently at the table, a faint smirk playing on her lips. She's always been this spoiled, never needing to ask for anything herself, with people rushing to fulfill her every whim. I sighed and turned to enter the room. When I came out, Shin Jizho had already emerged from the kitchen. Seeing me with luggage, he frowned. "What's the meaning of this?" I slammed the prepared divorce papers in front of him with unprecedented calm. "Shin Jizho, let's get divorced." For the 3 people before me wore different expressions. Han Yuan couldn't quite conceal her delight. My mother-in-law eyed me warily. "What are you scheming now? Jiang-yi, let me make this clear, your tricks won't work on me. No one in this family will indulge your tantrums. In this household, only Han Yuan gets coddled when she throws one of her dramatic fits. That privilege was never meant for me. Don't worry, I've come to terms with it. You've never liked me and wanted Shin Jizho to find someone better. I know when to step back. It's for everyone's good." My mother-in-law frowned, instinctively glancing at Shin Jizho. "What nonsense is this? I pushed you to have children for your and Jizho's future. Asking you to quit your job was to spare you hardship. You're the one overthinking things. And now you're using divorce as leverage." I remained composed. This isn't blackmail. I genuinely believe Shin Jizho and I aren't compatible. Rest assured, I won't take anything that belongs to Shin Jizho. The 20 yuan he gives me monthly barely covers household expenses. I always end up supplementing with my own salary, so there's no joint property between us. The house was his premarital asset. Once Shin signs the divorce papers, we'll finalize it officially. After that, whoever he marries is none of my concern. My mother-in-law never expected me to give up so abruptly, after all, when she opposed my relationship with Shin Jizho back then. I was so resolute. After a moment's thought, she didn't hesitate to slander me right in front of Shin Jizho. Have you found someone else, some man more powerful and influential than my Jizho, so you're abandoning your humble husband? I chuckled, with looks like mine. Do you really think that's possible? Mother-in-law stayed silent, probably realizing she'd overthought things. After all, when it comes to appearance, I'm painfully ordinary. I couldn't hold a candle to glamorous Han Yuan, let alone those fresh-faced young girls out there. Realizing the conversation would turn to divorce, my mother-in-law and Han Yuan excused themselves before finishing the meal. Han Yuan lingered with visible reluctance as they left. She glanced back several times, her triumphant expression poorly concealed, but I couldn't care less anymore. I thought I'd settled everything with my mother-in-law, and Shin Jizho, that devoted son, would never dare go against his mother's wishes. Yet Shin Jizho just stood there dumbstruck, his eyes glued to the divorce papers on the table. I nudged him impatiently. Sign it, Shin Jizho, then you'll be free. To my surprise, Magistrate Shin suddenly confronted me with bloodshot eyes. Jiang Yi, once I sign this, there'll be no turning back for you. Why would I ever regret it? Go ahead and sign. Magistrate Shin's face darkened as he glared at me for a long moment before finally scrawling his signature under my unwavering gaze. The hastily written characters nearly tore through the paper. He slammed the pen down violently, splattering a long ink stain across my trouser leg. I couldn't fathom his anger. Wasn't this the very dream he'd cherished for decades? Was he really that heartbroken just because I filed for divorce first? But now, none of that matters to me anymore. In the end, I got exactly what I wanted. Carefully tucking away the divorce papers, I walked out with my luggage without a backward glance. The furious roar of Magistrate Shin echoed behind me. Go then, don't you dare come back. You think I actually enjoy being with you? That stone-faced silence of yours every day. I can't even eat properly looking at your miserable face. I'd heard these exact words countless times during our worst fights in our previous life together. Hearing them again now, they carried no sting whatsoever. The door slammed shut behind me with a violent crash. Like a sudden thunderclap, the impact sent white dust cascading from the ceiling. Han Yuan from the neighboring courtyard poked her head out. She took one look at my luggage, said nothing, and withdrew back inside. Stepping out of the house, I took a deep breath. The crisp air filled my lungs, pure and invigorating, like being reborn. I stayed at the school dormitory for half a month. During those 2 weeks, I didn't have to do housework, deal with Han Yuan's constant petty complaints, or face my mother-in-law's perpetual look of resentment as if I owed her a lifetime of debts. I immersed myself completely in academic pursuits, achieving a state of transcendental focus. It's been ages since I last felt this carefree and joyful. Naturally, the transfer exam 2 weeks later went smoothly as well. When I learned I'd passed the exam and joined the National Aerospace Secrecy Program, my heart swelled with unprecedented excitement. The officer named Hu Qingzhou, who came to persuade me that day, extended his hand with a smile. Dr. Jiang, congratulations, we're comrades now. I smiled and shook his hand with both of mine, my eyes sparkling as I looked at him. I'll give it my all and dedicate my life to our motherland's cause. He looked at me, a visible blush spreading across his bronzed cheeks before he abruptly released my hand and took half a step back. I wondered if I'd acted inappropriately and was about to apologize when Hu Qingzhou gently reminded me, a car will pick you up at the dormitory in 3 days. Get your affairs in order. Once you leave, there's no telling when you'll return. I nodded, and Hu Qingzhou personally escorted me out. To my surprise, we immediately ran into Shin Jizho, who was accompanying Han Yuan to campus. Too busy for divorce proceedings, yet always available to dote on Han Yuan. I tried avoiding them both, but Shin Jizho spotted me first. He called out to me, Jiang Yi. Hu Qingzhou beside me halted first, forcing me to stop as well. Han Yuan spotted me too, then possessively tightened her grip on Shin Jizhou's arm. Shin Jizhou, however, struggled to free himself from her hold. The two wrestled briefly in this awkward tug-of-war. Governor Shin finally left Han Yuan behind and strode toward me. Jiang Yi, don't misunderstand. I came specifically to see you. Han Yuan just happened to be coming for the position competition today, so I gave her a ride. It suddenly occurred to me that my departure would leave a vacant professorship, so the university opened internal applications for the position. I smiled politely and spoke to Han Yuan, who had latched onto Governor Shin again. Best of luck with your promotion bid, Miss Han. This position opened up after my departure, and competition is fierce. Make sure you put your best foot forward. Han Yuan attended some diploma mill abroad. Her study abroad was just a thin veneer of prestige covering up her lack of real substance in her past life. I handed everything to her on a silver platter, and later Shin Jizhou gave her another boost. That's the only reason she's had such smooth sailing now that the position is up for grabs. Plenty of people have their eyes on it who'd be kind enough to let her. Han Yuan wore an unpleasant expression, speaking to me with stubborn pride. Don't worry, Miss Jiang, these past days, I've been fortunate to have Jizhou tutoring me. Without his care for all 3 meals, a pregnant woman like me could hardly focus on studying. As Han Yuan finished speaking, Shin Jizhou hastily tried to explain to me, that's not what happened. I just made extra portions while cooking and sent them to Mom. She took Han Yuan in to live with her. As for studying, I only gave her some problem-solving approaches. I'm too busy with work to look after her. I didn't respond. I let out a faint "oh." Shin Jizhou mistook my indifference for disbelief. My feelings for Han Yuan extend no further than professional support. Prefect Shin is quite the character. In the past, merely asking one extra question would make him furious. Now that I've long moved on, he's giving unnecessary explanations. We're getting divorced soon. You don't owe me any explanations. Shin Jizhou's face darkened considerably, but Hu Qingzhou beside him suddenly let out a derisive snort. The meaning was unclear, yet dripping with sarcasm. Han Yuan's expression darkened upon hearing Shin Jizhou's explanation, and Hu Qingzhou's derisive snort only deepened her embarrassment. But intimidated by Hu Qingzhou's military uniform, she swallowed her anger and redirected her attack toward me. Miss Jiang, you haven't even finalized your divorce papers, yet you've already lined up your next man. Even though you're no longer a professor, a woman engaging in such improper behavior would surely tarnish her reputation. She thought these words would surely make Hu Qingzhou look down on me. To everyone's surprise, Hu Qingzhou's face darkened instantly, and he rebuked her harshly without hesitation. Miss, do you have any evidence to prove there's an improper relationship between me and Miss Jiang? Slandering a military officer is a serious crime. Are you prepared to face a court-martial? Han Yuan, who had been so sharp-tongued moments ago, was now too terrified to utter a single word under his scathing reprimand. Trembling with fear, she hid behind Shin Jizhou, sobbing and begging for his help. Magistrate Shin wore a grim expression as he reluctantly pleaded with Hu Qingzhou, but Hu Qingzhou, ever stern and upright, wouldn't hear of it, even reprimanding Magistrate Shin in the process. It wasn't until Han Yuan suddenly clutched her stomach in feigned pain that Hu Qingzhou grudgingly let them go. After Magistrate Shen helped a disheveled Han Yuan make their embarrassed exit, Hu Qingzhou turned to me. I'll deal severely with the slander against both of us. Having no reason to plead for Han Yuan, I nodded in agreement. The next day, Prefect Shin came looking for me. He looked considerably more haggard than the day before when the weather turned cold and I refused to let him upstairs. He stood shivering in the biting wind outside my dorm for nearly an hour waiting for me. I'm utterly fed up with him refusing to divorce yet stubbornly clinging on. What's this about? You've got 5 minutes. 6. My mind's made up whether Shin Jizhou agrees to divorce or not. I'm heading northwest for who knows how many years. Who knows if we'll make it back alive from this godforsaken desert, wrapped in horsehide for burial. Seeing him is what truly matters. Who cares about some worthless piece of paper? Yet Magistrate Shin's first words were about Han Yuan. Hu Qingzhou keeps harping on about Han Yuan. What kind of grown man holds such petty grudges? It's bad enough that he sided with Han Yuan, but to badmouth Hu Qingzhou behind his back, unacceptable. I can't quite put my finger on why, but it left a bitter taste in my mouth. You heard what Han Yuan said. Slandering a military officer is a jailable offense. Shin Jizhou clearly didn't get the memo. He still felt Han Yuan was being wronged. Han Yuan's promotion eligibility was revoked. She's even suspended at home, about to lose her current position. Isn't that punishment enough? Growing impatient, Shin Jizhou's mother's words inexplicably surfaced in my mind. Staying home isn't so bad. Like your mother said, more time with the kids, all needs provided, leisurely days, and your whole family won't need to worry about her. Magistrate Shin suddenly fell silent. I glanced at my watch. 5 minutes had passed. Just as I was about to leave, Magistrate Shin abruptly asked me, Jiang Yi, what will it take for you to let Han Yuan go? I'm speechless. Even after all this, Governor Shin still thinks it's my fault. As expected, Han Yuan is absolutely perfect in their family's eyes, but I still said to Governor Shin, if you're willing to sign the divorce papers with me, I can put in a good word for you with Commander Hua. But Han Yuan's job is most likely beyond saving. Shin Jizhou clenched his teeth, disbelief flashing in his eyes. Jiang Yi, have you truly fallen for Hu Qingzhou? Are you really forcing me into divorce for his sake? How could Shin Jizho believe such baseless rumors, and yet, he still thinks Han Yuan did nothing wrong. I warned him, keep our issues between us, don't drag others into this. Han Yuan's your cautionary tale. Do you really want your whole family unemployed and starving? In the end, Shin Jizho compromised for Han Yuan's sake. We got the divorce papers the same day. At dawn on the third day, I boarded a military truck heading northwest alongside a team of specialists. From then on, my records were classified at the highest level. No trace of me could ever be found again. After signing the papers, Shin Jizho sulked for days. He's been tossing and turning these past few nights, unable to sleep until that day when he was tidying the drawer and found a hospital medical record inside. The record stated Jiang Yi had been pregnant 6 months prior. The baby, 4.5 weeks old. That very same evening, she developed a fever from being caught in the rain. She also lost the baby. Staring at the miscarriage date on the medical record, Shin Jizho suddenly remembered it had been pouring that day. He'd promised to pick Jiang Yi up from school, and she'd mentioned having good news to share. Just as he was approaching the school, he got a call from Han Yuan saying she had stomach pains. He told Jiang Yi to find her own way home or wait at school for him to pick her up. Then he spent the whole night taking care of Han Yuan. The next day, Jiang Yi looked visibly upset. No matter how much he apologized, she remained stone-faced and distant toward him. He thought Jiang Yi was being petty and ended up arguing with her. So, that's how it was. Remembering that moment, Shin Jizho kept slapping himself in frustration. He was determined to find Jiang Yi, to apologize, to beg for her forgiveness, and to ask for one more chance. Magistrate Shin went to the school dormitory, but the place was deserted. The dorm residents only knew that Jiang Yi had boarded a military truck at dawn 1 week prior and vanished without a trace since. When Magistrate Shin inquired at the school, the headmaster remained tight-lipped. I sneered coldly. Magistrate Shin thought of Hua Qingzhou. Jiang Yi and Hua Qingzhou have eloped. This was unacceptable. He must pursue them and bring Jiang Yi back, for she belonged to him. At that moment, Magistrate Shin felt as if a fated love, once his, had been wrenched from his very being, now forever beyond his grasp. His family pulled some strings and finally managed to locate Hua Qingzhou's military district through connections. He rushed to the military compound demanding to see Hua Qingzhou, but armed guards at the gate wouldn't let him get anywhere near. The commotion escalated. Shin Jizho not only got roughed up but ended up detained. His family had to go through hell and high water to get him out. The despondent Shin Jizho refused to leave, demanding to see Hua Qingzhou and insisting he return his wife. Yet Jiang Yi was nowhere to be found. Not even the civil registry had any record of this person. The dean of the engineering academy came personally to reason with Shen, who begged him for a solution. Just help me locate Jiang Yi, and I'll gladly take year-long business trips without complaint. The president of the Academy of Engineering had gathered all the intel before coming. If it weren't for Shin Jizho's family connections and his exceptional talent, his designs consistently winning national projects, the president wouldn't have bothered making this personal trip to persuade him back. Commander Hua only handles top-secret national projects. Your ex-wife wasn't hidden by him. She's likely involved in some classified operation. Governor Shen was in disbelief. But Jiang Yi never mentioned this to me. The president of the Academy of Engineering comforted Governor Shen. It's a classified project. So naturally she couldn't tell anyone. Since you're already divorced, just go home and live your life. Though given how devoted you are to family, she probably left you precisely because she didn't want to hold you back. Governor Shen remained silent for a long time. Though he didn't respond to the dean, the truth was clear in his heart. Jiang Yi wasn't trying to spare herself the trouble. She simply didn't want him anymore. That's why she divorced him, why she joined that classified project just to get away. He failed her. He took on family responsibilities, caring for his deceased elder brother's widow and Han Yuan's unborn child, yet never considered Jiang Yi's feelings. He didn't even know when she had the miscarriage. Shin Jizho returned home, but his heart remained hollow. Jiang Yi was gone, and it felt like she took his very soul with her. He would never forgive himself, nor would he ever forgive Han Yuan. Yet Han Yuan began clinging to Shin Jizho. Although Hua Qingzhou had relented earlier, Han Yuan's workplace still refused to reinstate her due to her problematic conduct. Han Yuan caused a scene at her former workplace over this matter. During the altercation, she accidentally fell down the stairs. The fall caused her to lose her 6-month-old unborn son, leaving Shin Jizho's mother nearly collapsing from grief outside the operating room. They say he left the hospital without waiting for Han Yuan to wake up, never bothering to visit her again. 7. After Han Yuan's postpartum confinement, Shin Jizho's mother reclaimed the house she'd been living in. No matter how much Han Yuan cried or threw tantrums, it was useless. Nobody came to comfort her anymore, rejected by her in-laws and with her own family long fallen from grace. She didn't even have a room to call home. Determined to escape poverty, Han Yuan clung to Magistrate Shen like a leech, terrified by her persistence. The magistrate barricaded himself in his office like a woman possessed. Han Yuan spread vicious rumors of their affair, demanding he take responsibility through hysterical public scenes. Only then did Magistrate Shen realize what a terrifying creature Han Yuan truly was. The dispute dragged on for months, with several organizations and the Women's Federation jointly mediating. Initially, everyone hoped Magistrate Shen would settle the matter peacefully. Since one woman was divorced and the other widowed, why not pair them together? Of course I know, but Magistrate Shen flatly refused. Eventually, the Women's Federation arranged a low-stakes gatekeeping job for Han Yuan, giving her at least some means of livelihood for 10 long years. Magistrate Shen thought of Jiang Yi every waking moment. Jiang Yi had left him in just half a month's time, yet he spent the rest of his life waiting for her return. Throughout that decade, he turned down every promotion opportunity, refusing to leave this place for better cities. He even turned down the housing upgrade offered by his workplace. Jiang Yi left in such a hurry that some belongings remained, each carefully preserved by him. Their handwritten marriage certificate from years ago, penned by Jiang Yi herself, now hangs framed by his bedside. Every night, he traces its words with reverent fingers as if their divorce had never happened. She's just away on a very long temporary assignment. If he waited quietly at home, Jiang Yi would eventually push open the door and greet him with a gentle smile. I'm home, what's for dinner tonight? 10 years later, China's first manned spacecraft soared into the cosmos, completed its orbital journey, and returned safely to Earth. I dedicated the latter half of my life to serving the nation amidst the harsh winds and frost of the Gobi Desert. Throughout these years, my team members have stood by my side during project setbacks, in moments of personal struggle, and through countless sleepless nights of relentless effort. We strive together, labor together, and find solace in shared solitude. Tears welled in our eyes the moment the manned spacecraft soared into the sky. Over these years, some have fallen, others retired wounded, yet new generations keep coming, willing to toil in obscurity, even unto death, dedicating their lives to our nation's strength. Standing atop the podium, surrounded by the crowd at the very center, the officer who once earnestly persuaded me with righteous words is no longer young now, yet he still stands behind me like an evergreen pine, steadfast in his protection. The gleaming metal pinned to my chest carries an honor that belongs not just to me, but to all who lived and died for this cause. I hope these names will be remembered by every soul. Tears streamed down uncontrollably through my blurred vision. I saw Magistrate Shen gazing at me intently from afar. He had aged considerably, yet his eyes sparkled just like when we first met. A hand reached from my side, gently brushing away my tears. As I took the handkerchief, our matching rings on middle fingers caught the light. Countless camera flashes lit up the scene. Governor Shen saw it too. The light faded from his eyes. The days grew colder, with snow piling up in thick layers. A snowman knelt outside the home I shared with Hu Qingzhou. Hu Qingzhou handed me a cup of warm milk and asked tenderly, would you like to meet him? Don't worry, I won't get jealous. I shook my head in refusal. My vacation lasts only a brief month. Hu Qingzhou and I rarely get to see each other, so I want to cherish our limited time together as a couple. It's best for people who are no longer connected to cut ties completely. I'm blessed with a career I'm passionate about, a loving partner to lean on, and comrades who share the same cause. If Magistrate Shen chooses to linger, that's his prerogative. While I find myself drifting further from my comrades, this is merely the first-generation manned spacecraft. 8. There will be second gen, third gen, even our nation's own space station. Despite global technological barriers, generations of relentless effort and exploration will ultimately shatter these constraints, securing our enduring leadership at the pinnacle of advanced industries. I let out a self-deprecating chuckle. Story 2. Only after my husband passed did I discover he'd willed all his assets to his childhood sweetheart. All he left me was a suicide note. Had you not blackmailed me with that life-saving favor, Xiaoman and I would never have been torn apart. She remained unmarried for me all these years. You've no right to resent my leaving her the estate. This is the debt you owe us. He seems to have forgotten how I rescued him from the fire at the cost of severe burns and disfigurement, when he was trapped trying to save his white moonlight. Forgotten too are all these years I devotedly cared for his fire-related health complications. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day of the fire, watching Sun Xiaozhong recklessly charge into the flames for love. I turned and walked away. This time, you two star-crossed lovebirds can rot together. 1. Xiaoman, Xiaoman. Sun Xiaozhong screamed outside the factory, his face flushed crimson in the raging inferno's glow. The familiar scene jolted me awake with sudden clarity. I'd been reborn. Sun Xiaozhong suddenly grabbed my shoulders, desperation in his voice. Xiaoman's still inside. What do we do? She'll burn to death. In my past life, I told him, the fire's too intense. There's no saving anyone now. A fellow worker urged Sun Xiaozhong. If you can't bear to watch, go save them now. If not, run. The fire's spreading. I'm out of here. Sun Xiaozhong gave me a long look, furrowed his brow, then doused himself with water from a bucket and charged into the inferno. In the end, my conscience got the better of me. I rushed in and pulled Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min to safety. They suffered severe burns, and my face was disfigured by the flames. After I was discharged from the hospital, I went back to take care of Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min. The co-workers all told Sun Xiaozhong, Xiaozhong, if it weren't for Su Hui, you and Lu Min would have died in that fire. You owe Su Hui your lives. Shouldn't you repay her by marrying her? It took over 2 months before Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min were finally discharged. During those 2 months, Sun Xiaozhong thanked me many times, but after leaving the hospital, his first stop was still to see Lu Min. I don't know what they discussed, but after returning from Lu Min's place, Sun Xiaozhong told me, the co-workers were right. Su Hui, you're my savior. I'd devote myself to you. If you'll have me, let's get married. Back in those days, with my face disfigured, no one would want me. Staying unmarried would only burden my parents, so I accepted Sun Xiaozhong's proposal without hesitation. After we married, Lu Min left. I cared for Sun Xiaozhong throughout our marriage, raised our children together and stayed by his side till his final days. Just as I was about to collapse in tears beside Sun Xiaozhong's body, the lawyer arrived. He said Sun Xiaozhong had left a will bequeathing all his assets to Lu Min, but he did leave me a letter. The letter stated that he only married me out of obligation for past favors, that Lu Min had always held his heart, and that she was the only woman he ever truly loved. Lu Min became so smug after inheriting Sun Xiaozhong's assets that she actually confessed the truth to me. After being discharged from the hospital, Sun Xiaozhong actually proposed to me, but who'd want to be his lifelong caretaker? I turned him down, so he settled for you, a free maid. TSK, Su Hui. What a pitiful life you've led. Those words haunted me for decades. Even with my dying breath, I couldn't let go of my hatred for Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min. Thankfully, heaven took pity on me and granted me a second chance in this life. Sun Xiaozhong remained true to his past self, gritting his teeth, dousing himself in water, and charging into the inferno. But this time I turned and walked away without a single glance back. Let those star-crossed lovers be stuck together forever too. The moment I got home and saw my parents, I couldn't hold back my tears any longer. What I'm truly grateful for isn't fate giving me a second chance for revenge, but letting me see my parents again. Whenever I'm back with my parents, no matter how old I get, I still feel like a child. My parents just heard about the factory fire and were rushing out when they spotted me. They immediately started checking me over from head to toe. Are you okay? Were you hurt? Why are you crying? Don't scare me like this. Where are you hurt? I wiped away my tears, my voice trembling uncontrollably from emotion. I'm fine. Really, not a scratch on me. My parents finally breathed a sigh of relief. As long as you're not hurt, then why are you crying? Did it scare you? I shook my head and hugged them. Mom, Dad, I just missed you so much. It felt like a lifetime had passed before I finally returned to my parents' side. In my previous life when my face was injured, my parents never saw me as a burden and took me everywhere seeking treatment. I was the one who gave up, though our family was relatively well off in those days. It was nowhere near enough to treat the scars on my face. Even if we spend every last penny, there's no guarantee my face can be cured. So I told my parents I'm giving up treatment. I'm going to marry Xiaozhong's son instead. My parents objected immediately. Though our families have always been close and you two grew up together, he's left with permanent disabilities now. Do you really want to spend your whole life taking care of him? I know my parents worry about me overworking, but I insisted anyway. Turns out I was dead wrong. In this lifetime, with my face still intact, I've returned to my parents' side. Now I just want to stay with my parents, never to be apart again. My parents pushed me away sheepishly. Where did you learn such tricks, you silly child? That afternoon, someone suddenly called out my father's name from outside. Dad returned shortly after stepping out and told me, Xiaozhong's in the hospital. Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao want you to go there. Is Xiaozhong badly hurt? Mom asked while putting aside the dish towel. Come on, let's all go together. Mom, Dad, I was actually there that day. I saw Sun Xiaozhong rush into the flames with my own eyes. I need to come clean with my parents. They shouldn't be kept in the dark about this. The fire was already raging, but the woman he liked, Lu Min, who'd just started at our factory, was trapped inside. That's why he went in. My parents immediately caught the unspoken meaning behind my words. If this has nothing to do with you, why are the sons asking you to come over? Mom pushed Dad out to the yard before turning back to me. Hui, be honest with me. Do you still have feelings for Xiaozhong? I shook my head repeatedly. No, Mom, I don't have any feelings for son Xiaozhong anymore. Mom nodded understandingly. All right then, I get it, let's go. When we arrived at the hospital with my parents, Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao's eyes were swollen from crying. Son Xiaozhong has already undergone surgery and is now lying unconscious in the hospital bed, his entire body wrapped in bandages. Aunt Xiao grabbed me with tears streaming down her face, sobbing uncontrollably. Hui, you're finally here. Xiaozhong my mother urgently asked. What exactly happened to Xiaozhong? Is it serious? Aunt Xiao kept weeping until Uncle Sun finally spoke. Xiaozhong suffered extensive burns, including damage to his reproductive organs. He won't be able to father children anymore. A somber mood filled the hospital room, yet I was the only one struggling to suppress laughter. So this was the ending son Xiaozhong truly deserved. 3. Aunt Xiao regained her composure and snapped angrily. It's all that Jinx's fault. Xiaozhong wouldn't be in this state if he hadn't tried saving that cursed woman. The Jinx was, of course, referring to Lu Min. They must have heard that son Xiaozhong rushed into the fire to save Lu Min. What about Lu Min? I asked. She's in the next room. Aunt Xiao fumed. Damn it. Xiaozhong ended up like this trying to save her. And what does she get? Just singed hair and some smoke inhalation, nothing serious at all. I glanced at my parents, who remained silent. Before speaking up, Xiaozhong likes Lu Min. He rushed in to save her because of love. Bullshit love, Uncle Sun cursed. Then suddenly remembered something and asked me suspiciously, Xiaozhong likes that Jinx, wasn't he with you? Old son, watch your words. My father cut him off sternly. Don't spread such nonsense. It's not good for either kid. Aunt Xiao grabbed my hand again, sobbing. Hui, I asked you here hoping you could keep Xiaozhong company. With your factory burned down and no work now, if you're free. She didn't spell it out, but I already knew what she was getting at. Son Xiaozhong became infertile. Since I'm on good terms with him, the couple immediately sent for me after hearing his lower body was severely burned. The intention is all too obvious. Truly, the parental heart knows no bounds. My parents clearly understood Aunt Xiao's implication. Just as my father was about to speak, I quickly cut in. Don't worry, Aunt Xiao. As Xiaozhong's closest friend, I'll do everything I can to help. But as Xiaozhong's best friend, I have to say this for him. Please stop blaming Lu Min. Think about it, he wouldn't have rushed into that burning building to save her if he didn't love her with all his heart. Thank goodness Lu Min wasn't seriously hurt. Can you imagine how devastated Xiaozhong would be when he wakes up otherwise? Before Aunt Xiao could respond, I'd already moved to the bedside. After glancing at the still unconscious son Xiaozhong, I turned and walked out. I'll go check on Lu Min next door. For Lu Min woke up at dusk. I've already sent my parents home. They've got their own things to take care of. Lu Min first broke down upon realizing her hair and eyelashes were completely burned off. Between sobs and coughing fits, the doctor explained her lung damage, which finally made her calm down with great difficulty. Aunt Xiao had no patience for her. You only lost some hair. It'll grow back in no time. What are you crying about? Go see my Xiaozhong. This is all your fault. Look what you've done to him. Auntie, how is Xiaozhong? Lu Min's voice was hoarse and grating, as unpleasant as could be. This was another lingering effect from my past life. My throat had been ruined by smoke inhalation. Go see for yourself. With great effort, Lu Min got out of bed and made her way to Sun Xiaozhong's hospital room. At that very moment, Sun Xiaozhong slowly opened his eyes. Aunt Xiao burst into tears of joy and immediately went to fetch the doctor. After examining Sun Xiaozhong again, the doctor confirmed he was completely out of danger. Aunt Xiao stopped the departing doctor, clutching at her last shred of hope as she pleaded, Doctor, please, is my son really? Is there truly no way? The doctor glanced at Sun Xiaozhong and nodded grimly. It's beyond repair now. After the doctor left, Sun Xiaozhong asked hoarsely, Mom, what's going on? What's wrong with me? Aunt Xiao couldn't speak. She just kept her head bowed, weeping silently. I answered for Aunt Xiao instead. The doctors said your lower body was severely burned. You'll never be able to have children. Hui. Aunt Xiao cut me off sharply, but it was too late. Sun Xiaozhong had already heard everything. These days, few willingly choose to be child-free. Everyone wants kids. The moment Sun Xiaozhong heard he couldn't father children, his entire body might have been wrapped in bandages, but his agitated state was palpable to everyone in the room. Amused internally but maintaining a concerned facade, I rushed to calm him. Xiaozhong, stay composed, your priority now is recovery, if not for yourself, then do it for Lu Min. Lu Min, come here quickly, I beckoned to her. Xiaozhong needs you more than anything right now, after all. No one wished more fervently than I for these two to remain irrevocably bound together for life. Lu Min hesitated at this moment. I smirked inwardly before turning to Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao with a smile. Congratulations, adversity reveals true love. Xiaozhong's misfortune has turned into blessing. Don't let Lu Min's current appearance fool you, though her hair, lashes and most eyebrows got burned off. They'll all grow back. Having such a beauty as your daughter-in-law, you, Su Hui, stop talking nonsense. Lu Min cut me off impatiently. I blinked innocently at her. What's wrong, Lu Min? Did I say something incorrect? Aren't you Xiaozhong's girlfriend? I'm not, Lu Min murmured under her breath. Casting a glance at Sun Xiaozhong, I gasped. What? You're not Xiaozhong's girlfriend? Everyone at the factory can see how close you two are. It's obvious you're a couple. How could you possibly not be his girlfriend? It's just that. Are you ditching Xiaozhong now that he's like this and can't have children? I moved closer to Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao. He got this. Wei saving you. How heartless can you be to abandon him now? Xiaoman, Sun Xiaozhong called Lu Min softly. Lu Min kept her head down, her face clearly reluctant. Auntie Xiao, Uncle Sun, I should head back now. I moved toward the door. Call me if you need anything. Su Hui, Sun Xiaozhong suddenly called out to me. 5. I turned around. Sun Xiaozhong looked at me, his hoarse voice dropping lower. When I rushed in to save Xiaoman, where were you? What? Aunt Xiao approached. Hui, you were outside at that time. I couldn't understand why Sun Xiaozhong was dragging me into this now. Did he realize I'd been speaking deliberately earlier? I quickly composed myself and nodded. Yes, I was outside. The fire was raging, and I wanted to stop you from going in, but I also knew how much Lu Min meant to you. If I'd held you back and something happened to her, you'd never forgive me. Su Hui, you were outside. Aunt Xiao burst into tears. You were right there and didn't stop Xiaozhong. You just watched him charge into that inferno. Su Hui, he was your closest friend. How could I stop a grown man hell-bent on playing the hero? I retorted sharply. Aunt Xiao's sobbing cut off abruptly. I approached the hospital bed. Xiaozhong, what's your problem? You blaming me for not stopping you? For letting you end up like this? Tell me honestly, did you really want to save Lu Min or not? And here I thought Lu Min owed you her life, that she should pledge herself to you, but now I see you're not even. Of course I wanted to save Min, Sun Xiaozhong rasped, straining his damaged vocal cords. I love Min. Wow, how romantic. I dragged Lu Min to the bedside. Lu Min, Xiaozhong just confessed his love for you. Lu Min tried to pull her hand away, so I let go. Alright, this is your family matter. I won't interfere. I'm leaving now. They've gotten what they deserved in this lifetime. Seems they're stuck with each other now, so it's none of my business anymore. 6. When I got home, my parents asked about Sun Xiaozhong. So I told them everything about him and Lu Min. Now my parents truly believe I have no romantic feelings for Sun Xiaozhong. In that case, it's their family matter. Hui, don't be too hard on yourself. This was never your responsibility to begin with. Taking good care of yourself is the greatest filial piety you could show me and your mom. My nose stung, and I nearly burst into tears again. How wonderful. I get to be mom and dad's little girl again. Mom then said, don't worry about the factory job, we'll help you find another one if this one's gone. My parents do have some connections, but I just don't feel like working anymore. Mom, Dad, I want to take next year's college entrance exam. In my past life, I desperately wanted to take the Gaokao. Becoming a university student was the shared dream of our generation, but that terrible fire changed everything. I burned my face saving Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min. After marrying Sun Xiaozhong, I had to juggle taking care of him and attending to my in-laws, leaving me no time or energy to prepare for exams. Now that I've been given this rare second chance, I'm determined to make the most of it. With my parents' full support, I went to the bookstore the very next day. On my way back, I spotted Lu Min at the alley entrance. She was wearing a hat, mask, and sunglasses, dressed in her own clothes. In other words, nothing was actually wrong with her. You came to see me. Lu Min got straight to the point. Why did you say those things to Xiao Zhong? It's true we had mutual feelings before, but we never officially dated. Could you please stop spreading rumors? Now his parents won't leave me alone, insisting I take care of Xiaozhong. What about you? I asked pointedly, knowing the answer. Weren't you interested in Xiaozhong too? Or do you look down on him now that he's like this? He became this way for your sake. You know, that's not it. Besides, your skin wasn't completely spared from the burns either. You need treatment money too. Do you even have the funds yourself? Upon hearing this, Lu Min fell into deep thought. Xiao Zhong's family is well off. His parents have saved up quite a sum over the years. They can definitely cover your burn treatment, and I'm certain Xiao Zhong would be willing to spend the money for you. After speaking, I asked, was there anything else you needed? No, I'll take my leave now. 7. I began devouring books and studying voraciously. A few evenings later at dinner, my father brought up the Sun family's affairs. God knows what kind of spell that woman cast on Xiaozhong. He needs a fortune for his own treatment and care, yet he's making his parents pay for her medical bills first. Dad, that's their family business, let's not meddle in it. My mom chimed in, exactly, just drop it, but she couldn't help complaining. To be honest, I'm really disappointed in Xiaozhong. After all that attention he showered on Hui Hui before, my dad shot my mom a look, and she immediately fell silent. I laughed lightly, that's all in the past now. I just want to focus on studying for next year's college entrance exams. My dad told me that many of our factory co-workers have visited Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min in the hospital. You didn't even need my dad to tell you. The whole residential compound was buzzing about Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min. Everyone said adversity revealed their true feelings, and they'd get married once Sun recovered from his injuries. Looks like these two are truly bound together for life. It took over 2 months before Sun Xiaozhong was discharged from the hospital. My parents took me to see him that very day. His head was shaved, and the burn scars had fused his facial skin together, making his entire appearance ghastly and horrifying. Lu Min kept bustling around him, attending to his every need. She, on the other hand, had recovered quite well. I deliberately asked, Lu Min, you were trapped in the fire first while Xiaozhong entered later. How come his injuries were so much worse than yours? Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao seemed to just realize this inconsistency, both turning their gaze toward Lu Min. Lu Min hesitated, at a complete loss for words. Finally, Sun Xiaozhong spoke up. Xiao Min got pinned under a cabinet. After I lifted it off her, she'd barely stood up when a beam from the ceiling collapsed on me. She ran out to get help. Actually, from what I know, that pillar wasn't particularly heavy. If Lu Min had stayed to help move it, Sun Xiaozhong wouldn't have gotten so badly hurt. Hearing this, Sun Xiaozhong's parents didn't ask anything further. They helped Sun Xiaozhong into bed, and then everyone left the room. Su Hui, come in for a moment, I need to talk to you. Sun Xiaozhong's voice came from inside the room. I walked in and closed the door. Go ahead, say what you need to say. Sun Xiaozhong took a deep breath, his gravelly voice tinged with irritation. Stop picking on Xiaomin. She's had nothing to do with this from the start. I was completely baffled. What on earth are you trying to say? Let me spell it out then. Sun Xiaozhong sighed. Su Hui, I know how you feel about me. We grew up together, and both our parents expected us to marry eventually. Here's the truth. Had Xiaomin never come into the picture, I would have married you. I nodded in agreement. Before Lu Min came into the picture, becoming Sun Xiaozhong's wife was one of my life goals, something both our families had instilled in me since childhood. Sun Xiaozhong continued, but now I'm in love with Min. Su Hui, I truly am. I'd die for her. So, we're just not meant to be. Let me go. Someone better is waiting for you. And please stop targeting Min at every turn. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. After a pause, Sun Xiaozhong seemed to detect the mockery in my laughter and snapped defensively. What's so funny? Nothing. Just focus on your relationship with Lu Min, I said, turning to leave. I'm completely over you, Sun Xiaozhong, stop overthinking things. The audacity of him, looking like that and still telling me to move on. Just looking at him makes me sick to my stomach. 8. I'm not at all surprised the Sun family paid for Lu Min's treatment. Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao only have that one child. Of course they'd do whatever she says, even if reluctantly. A year later, Lu Min's hair grew back completely, along with her eyebrows and eyelashes. Even her scars had faded to near invisibility unless you looked closely. You could say Lu Min's completely normal now, though her voice remains slightly husky. Not that she can't pitch it higher when she wants to. A whole new chapter of my life began. That's right, I got into college. My parents threw me a celebration party in our courtyard, inviting neighbors and co-workers. The Sun family and Lu Min came too. Congratulations, Su Hui, Sun Xiaozhong said sincerely, though his eyes betrayed a hint of envy and bitterness when he looked at me. Deep down, he probably wanted to go to college too, but his grades had always been poor. He knew he wouldn't make the cut. So right after high school, he settled for factory work. That very night, Sun Xiaozhong suddenly attempted suicide. His parents couldn't stop him and came running to me for help. Hui Hui, please, I'm begging you to talk some sense into Xiaozhong. He's my only son. If he dies, I won't be able to go on either. Aunt Xiao clutched at me. sobbing uncontrollably instead of rushing over. I asked, suicide. Why would Xiao Zhong want to kill himself? You'll understand when you get there. Hurry, Aunt Xiao pulled me along urgently. When we arrived at the Sun residence, Sun Xiaozhong was still shouting, "Let Xiaomin leave, or I'll end my life." That's when I realized Sun Xiaozhong didn't want to drag Lu Min down and tried to send her away, but his parents objected. That's why he attempted suicide. Now that's true love. Lu Min, what do you think? I turned to ask her. Lu Min shrank into the corner, murmuring, "I'll do whatever Xiaozhong says." Bullshit. Aunt Xiao rushed over and slapped Lu Min. If you hadn't put ideas into Xiaozhong's head, why would he suddenly tell you to leave? Mom, Sun Xiaozhong stepped in to shield Lu Min. I'm the one who told Xiaomin to go. Don't blame her. He pulled out a knife. If you don't let Xiaomin leave, I'll kill myself right now. With that, he raised the knife and stabbed toward his own stomach. No, stop. Aunt Xiao screamed herself hoarse, but it was too late. Sun Xiaozhong's knife had already struck him. The wound was shallow, with only a trickle of blood. After all the commotion, Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao finally agreed to let Lu Min leave. Sun Xiaozhong was hospitalized again. Fortunately, the wound wasn't serious this time. The doctor just gave him basic treatment before sending him home. 9. The day after Lu Min left, Aunt Xiao came to our house again. Hui, now that you've been admitted to university and have more free time, could you help keep an eye on Xiaozhong while Uncle Sun and I are at work? You won't need to bother once his injury heals. My parents had gone to work too, leaving me alone at home. I couldn't refuse, so I went to the Sun residence to see Sun Xiaozhong. You're here. Sun Xiaozhong grinned at me. Come, have a seat. He gestured toward the chair by the door. I pulled the chair over and sat by the bedside. How are you holding up? Does the wound still hurt? Not bad. Sun Xiaozhong forced a smile, hesitating as he stared at me for a long moment. Words stuck in his throat. I chuckled and spoke for him. Lu Min's gone. Don't tell me you're about to confess to me. Sun Xiaozhong froze. Clearly, I'd hit the nail on the head. You're jealous I got into college, aren't you? But you can't go now. And let's face it, you never stood a chance, so you let your precious Xiaomin go for her education. Must have cost you a pretty penny. Huh. The scarred face of Sun Xiaozhong darkened gradually. Su Hui, you want to marry me? To replace Lu Min as your caretaker, I scoffed, pushing back my chair as I stood. Sun Xiaozhong, what makes you think I'd ever marry you? Sun Xiaozhong looked up eagerly. But don't you have feelings for me? I told you I don't like you. Are you deaf or just in denial? I gave him a once-over with disdain. Or do you still think you're some irresistible charmer and I'm still hung up on you? A flash of humiliation crossed Sun Xiaozhong's face, the scars twisting his expression into something downright grotesque. I'm a college student now, and you, not just disfigured. Your lower body's burnt to a crisp. Marrying you would be a curse for 8 lifetimes. Do I look like an idiot to you? Shut up, Sun Xiaozhong roared. Just shut your damn mouth. I raised my hand and slapped him hard across the face. Sun Xiaozhong, what makes you think I'd still be interested in you now? Do you take me for a fool? Even a sow would turn tail and run from the sight of you, let alone me. Was it you who drove Lu Min away? You think your love is so noble. If it weren't for your parents holding their favors over her head, and the whole factory gossiping about you too, do you really think she'd stay? She's only sticking around for your family's money. She can't afford to treat her scars otherwise. Shut your mouth. I slapped Sun Xiaozhong across the face again with full force. You still want to marry me? Who do you think you are? Just looking at you makes me sick. You know that. Su Hui. Sun Xiaozhong clutched his wound, struggling to get out of bed. Shut up, I'll kill you. I kicked him hard. Murder gets you the death penalty. You'd better stay alive. Live like the sewer rat you are, where nobody but your parents would spare you a second glance. Tell your parents to stop coming after me. With those final words, I turned and walked away. Sun Xiaozhong's furious shouts chased after me relentlessly, only fading completely when I finally reached home. I'd planned to humor him temporarily out of respect for Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao, just until college started, but that shameless bastard actually proposed marriage. The only reason I didn't beat him to death was because his life isn't worth my freedom. That evening, Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao came straight to see me after work. Su Hui, what the hell is this? We asked you to look after Xiaozhong as a favor. If you didn't want to, fine, but assaulting him, his wounds have reopened. We could report this to the police. My parents tried to intervene, but I stopped them. Uncle Sun, Aunt Xiao, I've shown you both enough respect. I went to care for Sun Xiaozhong when you asked, but let's not pretend we don't all know what you're really after. Sun Xiaozhong wants to marry me out of jealousy, because I got into university and he knew he'd never make it. That's why he pulled that suicide stunt to guilt you into letting Lu Min leave, even funding her education while trapping me here as his caretaker. What the hell do you want? He treated me like an idiot. He had it coming. Go ahead, call the cops. The moment you do, I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of people the Sun family really are. Let's see how you hold your heads up after that. Only then did the two of them leave. I knew then, our family and the Suns were done for good, but my parents didn't care. To them, nothing mattered more than me. 10. I never expected to run into Lu Min at my university town. It happened over a month after school started. When I went to the library with classmates and spotted Lu Min, the man she was clinging to had slicked back hair shiny enough for a cow to lick, wearing a floral shirt and a chunky gold chain, the textbook nouveau riche look. When she saw me, Lu Min froze momentarily before flashing a practiced smile and approaching arm in arm with the man. Long time no see, Su Hui. Never thought I'd run into you here. I smiled and nodded. I study here. Then I glanced at the man. Is this your boyfriend? Yeah, she said with a tilt of her head, smiling blissfully. After saying something to the man, she pulled me aside and whispered, I haven't told him about Sun Xiaozhong. Don't mention it either. I remained silent, shook off her hand, and walked away with my friend. My friend asked, who was that? Someone you used to know. I shook my head. Not a friend, but a sworn enemy, the kind of enemy you'd gladly watch burn in hell. Maybe fate was on my side, because a few days later, my friend shared a secret with me. Remember that friend of yours? The one we ran into at the library that day when we went to borrow books. I nodded. She continued, let me tell you, that man she was clinging to the other day, he's married. My jaw dropped in surprise, though upon reflection, it wasn't all that shocking. What's so surprising about Lu Min pulling something like this? How did you know? I asked my friend. She said, my brother-in-law knows that guy. He's filthy rich, but his wife is no pushover. They've got some nerve parading around in broad daylight. Really? I feigned indifference, though a plan was already forming in my mind. 11. A few days later, I called my parents and told them about Lu Min dating a married man. Word of this inevitably reached all three members of the Sun household. According to my parents, Uncle Sun and Aunt Xiao first gave Lu Min a harsh scolding when they heard the news, then turned their anger on Xiaozhong. You paid for her education and college, and what thanks do we get? The moment she leaves, she finds herself a man. Tell me, Xiaozhong, aren't you just a damn fool? Did she stay out of gratitude? She was after our money all along. Without our money, how could her scars have healed so fast? What man would look twice at her covered in scars? Sun Xiaozhong, you're nothing but a country bumpkin. The couple took turns tearing into Sun Xiaozhong, and by now he'd seen Lu Min's true colors. The next day, he dragged his battered body to confront Lu Min. That's what my parents told me. I timed it perfectly. Found the man's wife and told her about Lu Min's affair. The scorned wife stormed the streets with an angry mob, cornering a disheveled Lu Min. They pinned her down, beating her mercilessly, nearly stripping her naked in public. Only when someone threatened to call the police did the wife finally drag her family to confront her cheating husband. Lu Min lay crumpled on the ground sobbing. That's precisely when Sun Xiaozhong made his appearance. Lu Min urgently tugged at Xiaozhong's son's clothes. Xiaozhong, give me your jacket now, hurry. Instead of removing his clothes, Xiaozhong's son told the officer, Officer, she's a friend, I'll take her with me. He then pulled Lu Min up from the ground and led her away. The next day, someone came to find me on Sun Xiaozhong's behalf. That's how I learned he'd been hospitalized again. When I arrived, he was sitting blankly on the hospital bed, his head still wrapped in bandages. At the sight of me, Sun Xiaozhong threw off the blankets and tried to get up, only to tumble onto the floor. He crawled to my feet on his hands and knees. Hui hui, I remember everything now, he sobbed, clutching my legs, all masculine pride forgotten. His voice was thick with remorse. I wronged you. In our past life, you were so good to me. You rushed into the flames to save me, cared for me most of your life, yet, when I died, I left everything to Lu Min. I gasped in shock. He actually regained memories from his past life. 12. Turns out Sun Xiaozhong took Lu Min to a hotel that day and tried to force himself on her. You filthy whore, I treated you like a goddess, and you go be someone's mistress. If you're so desperate for it, come get it. Lu Min took one look at his face looming above her and immediately vomited, enraged. Sun Xiaozhong tore off Lu Min's clothes and attempted to rape her. During the struggle, Lu Min grabbed a nearby lamp and smashed it violently against Sun Xiaozhong's head, bleeding profusely. Sun Xiaozhong called an ambulance and went to the hospital himself. That slap from Lu Min triggered his past life memories to resurface. The man is still sobbing at my feet right now. His remorse is genuine. Hui hui, Please give me another chance. I swear I'll treat you right this time, love you properly, give you everything I have. I kicked him away with a scornful laugh. Take a look at yourself. Even Lu Min would vomit at the sight of you. Do you really think I'd still love you? Tears streamed down Sun Xiaozhong's twisted face. Sun Xiaozhong, since you remember our past life now, don't blame me for not stopping you back then. You brought this upon yourself. My final words to him were, you deserved it. I left. Sun Xiaozhong later called the police, claiming Lu Min had assaulted him. Lu Min countered that she only acted in self-defense against his attempted rape. Eventually, both parties agreed to settle the matter privately. Sun Xiaozhong, I've repaid what I owed you. Be grateful I didn't send you to prison. Never contact me again. The sight of your face makes me sick. Sun Xiaozhong grabbed Lu Min's wrist tightly. In our past life, you refused to marry me because you didn't want to take care of me, didn't you? Lu Min shook him off. What past life? Are you out of your mind? With that, she walked away. Sun Xiaozhong glared bitterly at Lu Min's retreating figure. That night, Sun Xiaozhong found Lu Min and killed her. Afterwards, he went to the school to find them. In my past life, I told him, the fire's too intense. There's no saving anyone now. I didn't. Some terrified classmates had already called the police, but Sun Xiaozhong didn't leave. He waited for me right at the school gate. When he saw me, he dropped to his knees without hesitation. Hui hui, I owe you. I've owed you a lifetime. I don't know how to make it up to you. I killed Lu Min. Consider it vengeance for you. I know you've been reborn. Maybe I'll be reborn too after I die. In our next life, would you give me another chance? In my next life, I won't rush into burning buildings again. Let's both stay safe and live peacefully together. Alright. I glared at him coldly. Sun Xiaozhong, not in this lifetime nor the next. I never want to see you again for all eternity. The security guards rushed out and restrained Sun Xiaozhong. He was quickly taken away by the police. After the verdict was delivered, he was swiftly executed. What a wonderful world without Sun Xiaozhong and Lu Min. Now I can finally let go of the hatred in my heart and live my own life. Story 2. At 8 years old, I was abducted by human traffickers while trying to save my childhood friend. 10 years later, when I returned, my childhood friend had a fake heiress by his side who bore a striking resemblance to me. She openly walked into my home, hugging and being affectionate with my parents. Later, I accidentally witnessed the fake heiress calling the traffickers' mom and dad, discussing plans to abduct me again. The fake heiress panicked and ran me over with her car. My childhood sweetheart even helped her cover up the crime, dumping my body in the ocean. When I opened my eyes again, I'd returned to the moment when traffickers were about to kidnap my childhood sweetheart. I pondered carefully. There seems to be a little boy in the nearby orphanage who looks quite similar to my childhood sweetheart. Young man, my foot is sprained. Could you take me to the hospital? Ouch, I can't move. I really can't move. Yan Xiao was warm-hearted and couldn't walk away upon hearing this. Granny, isn't your family around? Can't you walk anymore? Come on, I'll carry you on my back. TSK, look at this. How helpful. Who wouldn't see this scene and immediately label Yan Xiao as a good person with admiration? But how could such a warm-hearted and handsome young man just stand by and watch me get kidnapped by traffickers in my previous life without doing anything? Yan Xiao carried the old woman on his back and headed straight for the roadside, turning around after a few steps to urge me. Nij, hurry up, aren't you coming? At just 8 years old, Yan Xiao was still thin and small, struggling slightly as he adjusted the old woman's weight on his back. I muttered oh and then stopped in my tracks. My stomach suddenly hurts so bad. You go ahead first, I'll catch up with you later. After saying that, I immediately ran away in the opposite direction, but heaven gave me a second chance. How could I miss such a satisfying scene following my memories from my past life? I first ran into a building. That spot offered a clear view of the alley where I was abducted in my past life. The hospital wasn't far away, and there were quite a few people on the road, but dusk was already falling. Yan Xiao carried the old woman on his back for quite a while before slowly making his way over. Granny, maybe you should walk a bit, you're really heavy. The old woman didn't answer, but instead pulled out a handkerchief from her pocket. In my previous life, when I realized something was wrong, I directly snatched that handkerchief and threw it on the ground, then grabbed Yan Xiao and ran. However, my actions angered the hidden human traffickers. The other two immediately rushed out to grab us. Finally, he managed to escape and I became the only victim. This time, I stood by the corridor window, coldly watching everything unfold below. The cloth was pressed against Yan Xiao's nose, but he reacted quickly and immediately threw the old woman off his back. His body swayed twice as he clutched his head, uttering 2 fierce sentences before attempting To flee apparently, he too had realized something was wrong but escaping wouldn't be that easy. Two men blocked his path from front and back, swiftly lifting him by the waist in a matter of seconds. When I faintly heard cries for help, the corners of my lips slowly curled up. Downstairs, Yan Xiao struggled and glanced toward my direction. As our eyes met, I smiled and waved at him. Help, and save me quickly, save him. I saved him in my past life, but I died. I deliberately wandered outside for an extra hour before returning in tears, but my parents didn't seem to care much when they saw me crying. They just said, "Did you get into another fight with Yan Xiao? How many times have I told you, a girl should behave like a girl?" I got tired of hearing it and burst into even louder sobs. "Dad, Mom, has Yan Xiao come home? I can't find him." At this sentence, my mom was so shocked she dropped her phone. "What? Didn't you two go out together? Quick, come with me to check next door." My parents hurriedly dragged me to the Yan family's house and asked as soon as we entered, "Is Yan Xiao home, mother-in-law? Have you lost your mind?" Yan Xiao went out to play with Gigi. Yan Xiao and I grew up together since childhood. We're genuine childhood sweethearts, so both sets of parents would jokingly refer to each other as in-laws. But seeing me crying so hard my tonsils were nearly visible, his parents grew anxious too. "Gigi, why are you alone? Where's Yan Xiao?" I sobbed. "He took an elderly woman to the hospital." I had a stomachache and ran to the restroom, but later when I searched the hospital for him, I couldn't find him or that woman anywhere. His parents staggered slightly, grabbed their coats, and rushed out. My parents quickly followed up. "Don't be too anxious. Maybe the child got carried away playing and lost track of time. We'll help you search together. Don't you know the police chief?" Reported immediately and checked the surveillance footage. To make the act convincing, I deliberately returned home wailing loudly the moment I stepped inside. I wiped away my tears with an instantly expressionless face. This is exactly why I stayed for an hour before going home. Both our families have some small money and resources. What if they check the surveillance and actually manage to rescue Yan Qing? At the very least, I need to buy the traffickers enough time to leave the city. Otherwise, how could I plan what comes next? The look of despair and shock in Yan Zhao's eyes when he was taken away was exactly the same as mine in my past life. In my past life, because of my sudden interference, the traffickers struggled to capture both of us. We desperately ran toward the light at the end of the alley, and just as we were about to be caught, Yan Xiao pushed me forward. I took a nasty fall. I begged him desperately, "Yan Xiao, pull me up quickly. I'm begging you. Once we get out of this alley, we'll reach the bustling street, and both of us can safely go home." The traffickers were getting closer, and I reached out my hand to Yan Xiao in near supplication, but Yan Xiao glanced behind me, gritted his teeth, and ran off alone without looking back. Yan Xiao. I was so scared I started crying, scrambling forward on all fours, but in the end, the trafficker grabbed my leg and dragged me back. Back then, I naively believed that after Yan Xiao ran away, he would bring someone back to save me. But even after I was brutally assaulted by those two beastly human traffickers in the alley for over half an hour, Yan Xiao never returned with anyone. Damn brat, shouldn't have meddled in others' business. Originally didn't even want a worthless girl like you. Had to open your mouth, didn't you? Had to act cheap, right? How does it feel now? Enjoying it. At 8 years old, the pain made me faint repeatedly, only to feel two men taking turns slapping me. Yan Xiao, why, if only you had helped me up. We both could have escaped even if you had just brought someone back to look for me. I wouldn't have ended up like this. Later I was sold to a remote mountainous area where nothing grows, and endured 10 years of hardship before finally returning home. But when I came back, there was suddenly a girl in my family who bore a 70% resemblance to me. She walked openly into my home, hugging my parents with great affection. Just as I hesitated to approach, she exclaimed in surprise, "Dad, Mom, Brother Xiao, this sister smells so bad. Could she have some filthy disease, too?" With an innocent face, she uttered the most vicious words. Just like that, my parents, who had been immersed in the joy of regaining what was lost, suddenly changed their attitude towards me, and Yan Xiao despised me to the extreme. I thought that as long as I treated them well, they would eventually accept me, but to my surprise, what I heard was their icy voices. "If you had died out there, you'd have remained the white moonlight in everyone's hearts. Why did you have to come back and disgust us?" Later, I accidentally discovered the fake heiress calling that pair of human traffickers mom and dad, discussing plans to kidnap me again. In her panic, the fake heiress ran me over with her car and killed me, and Yan Xiao even helped her cover up the crime, throwing my body into the sea. If he's so heartless and ungrateful, then there's no problem with me refusing to help when he's in dire straits, right? The wheel of fortune turns. It's time for him to experience what it's like to be in the mountains where everyone eyes you with hostility. Speaking of which, Yan Xiao is handsome and belongs to that clean-cut, slender type. Those desperate old men like this kind the most. They searched all night before coming back. As soon as I pushed open the door, my strict parents grabbed my arms and asked, Gigi, think carefully again. What did the person Yan Xiao was carrying look like? Draw it for Auntie. She pinched my arm and shook me hard. Draw it for me. I froze for a moment, then immediately pouted and burst into tears. I don't remember either. I had a stomachache and was rushing to the bathroom at the time. Dad, Mom, has Yan Xiao been found? The more heartbroken I cry at this moment, the happier I truly feel inside. Judging by the previous life circumstances, Yan Xiao should already be entering the mountains by now. My parents wiped my tears, then looked at Yan's father and mother as if wanting to say something but hesitating. In the end, they just shook their heads. The four parents sat on the sofa with vacant stares, the strict father and mother resembling soulless marionettes. Only when the phone rang did a faint glimmer appear in their eyes. Had they been found? Watching their sorrowful expressions, I couldn't help but feel a flicker of mockery in my eyes. It's just a lost child, no big deal, don't worry, you'll feel better after some time. In my past life, Yan Xiao found a foster daughter for my parents, so of course I'll help his parents overcome their grief in this life. Stroking my chin thoughtfully, there seems to be a little boy in the nearby orphanage who looks quite similar to Yan Xiao. By the time he returns, there will already be a fake young master raised to near perfection in the household. He should be happy, right? Half a month passed, and the Yan family had exhausted all their connections without finding Yan Xiao. Yan's parents were immersed in grief every day, having visibly lost weight over those 2 weeks. My heart aches watching them, so I go next door to keep them company every day. Uncle, Aunt, I'm sorry. If I hadn't gone to the bathroom then, would Yan Xiao still be missing? If I'd known that person was a trafficker, I would have fought desperately to stop him from playing the Good Samaritan. I deliberately say this to keep the conversation going. My strict father and mother looked at me, their lips trembling as tears fell before any words could escape. After my persistent efforts, another week passed before they finally accepted the truth. Silly child, how could we blame you? You did right by not going. Had you gone, you might have. It's all mine and your uncle's fault. We only taught him to be helpful but forgot this world still has damned human traffickers. As they spoke, the two of them hugged each other and burst into tears again. Having spent nearly a month with them, I had long grown accustomed to such scenes. Watching them cry, I quietly went to the kitchen and made them some plain congee. When they finished crying, I brought it out and said, Uncle, Auntie, please eat something. What if there's news about Yan Xiao? You'll need your strength later. After my persuasion, they managed to eat a little. Day by day, I gradually integrated into their household like gentle rain moistening the earth, becoming their confidant and emotional support until the day I deliberately didn't visit, and they couldn't wait to come looking for me at my place. I know I succeeded. 3. After calming their emotions, I suggested, Uncle, Aunt, how about I accompany you for a walk in the nearby park? Staying indoors all the time isn't good for one's mental health. Alright, Gigi, we'll follow your suggestion. I curled the corners of my lips and slowly said okay. I accompanied them as they wandered seemingly aimlessly through the park. Mother Yan held my hand tightly while walking and telling me stories about Yan Zhao's childhood. Yan Xiao was born on the exact same day as you, and our families lived next door to each other. We always felt the two of you were destined to meet. Gigi, do you know what Yan Zhao's security blanket is? I asked with feigned interest. What? A big guy like Yan Xiao actually still has a security blanket? A glimmer of amusement flashed in Mother Yan's eyes, but was soon replaced by that tinge of sorrow again. It's funny to say, but his security blanket is actually the drool bib you used during your confinement month. I don't know how he picked it up, but ever since then, he has to hold it every night when he sleeps. Yan Xiao, you're the one I like the most. Do you like me? If you like me, why did you stand by and watch me die in our past life? If you liked me, why did that fake heiress who came later replace me? Just as I was thinking, the footsteps of my strict parents suddenly stopped. Yan Xiao. They let go of my hand and rushed together toward the boy sitting on the bench not far away. Yan Xiao, why haven't you come home, child? Your father and I were worried sick. Woo-woo, Yan Xiao, are you trying to scare us to death? The tightly embraced boy was overwhelmed by their enthusiasm. Not knowing what to do, I simply nodded at him. This is exactly why I brought them to this park. Ko Wang, that boy from the orphanage, he bears an 80% resemblance to Yan Xiao. relying on this face and the behavioral habits of Yan Xiao that I taught him. It's enough for him to survive in the Yan family. The strict parents felt deeply disappointed when they realized Kuang wasn't Yan Xiao. But I'm here for you, uncle, auntie. Don't you think this is fate? He looks so much like Yan Xiao. But, big brother, where do you live? I don't remember seeing you before. Can we play together often from now on? Kuang lowered his head and whispered, I'm an orphan from the orphanage. In their peripheral vision, the strict father and mother's eyes lit up slightly. I then timely offered them an opportunity to step down. Uncle, aunt, this is simply fate. How miraculous. We were so close to the orphanage yet never met him. Yan Xiao just now. Uncle, aunt, would you like to? How could they refuse? A desperate person will cling to anything they see. It's rare to find someone who resembles your own son. In the end, they still took Kuang back to the Yan family and named him Yan Qing. The next day, Yan Qing came to me, remained silent for a while, and then asked, why are you helping me so much? How do you know they will definitely take me in? I try to make myself appear guileless, because the original son of uncle and aunt was taken by human traffickers, and you look so much like him. I hope you study hard and don't let your uncle and aunt down. As long as he behaves well and doesn't cause trouble, he'll become part of the Yan family in the future. By then, his life will undergo earth-shaking changes. Just like that fake heiress, I can't wait for time to pass faster. It would be interesting to see Yan Zhao's expression when he returns after 10 years and finds someone has taken his place at home with Yan Qing around. The grief of Yan's parents seemed to find its solace. He was such a well-behaved and sensible person that he basically won them over within 2 weeks of arriving home. They even started bringing Yan Qing to my house for gatherings. My mother smiled warmly at Yan Qing. This child is truly wonderful. It's just a pity he's an orphan. Meeting you all now is his great fortune. Yan Qing seems about the same age as our Gigi. Where did he go to school before? After asking, the uncle and aunt turned their gaze to me. Gigi, uncle and aunt actually wanted to talk to you about this matter today. We want to transfer Yan Qing to your prestigious school. Since he's just arrived, I'm worried he might not adapt well. How about placing him in your class? Could you help auntie look after him? I agreed without hesitation. Sure, this way I'll have more opportunities to spend time with Yan Qing. The next day, Yan Qing joined our class. It's just that the circle is only so big, and almost everyone knows Yan Qing is the adopted son of the Yan family. Children from wealthy families have always been good at sizing people up. They began testing Yan Qing intentionally or unintentionally, and seeing that he hadn't yet gained a firm foothold in the Yan family, they started excluding and bullying him. I saw all this but didn't intervene. It wasn't until a week later that I finally stood up for Yan Qing when he was being bullied. After all, only after being bullied and then saved would Yan Qing feel grateful towards me. After school, he was cornered again, and I pushed my way in from behind. Then, pretending not to understand their bullying, I said, Yan Qing, why are you still playing around here? Didn't your uncle and aunt enroll you in tutoring classes so you could help share their burdens sooner? Yan Qing blinked, momentarily stunned, for fortunately, he wasn't a fool. He understood I was deliberately saying this for these people's ears and didn't expose me. Everyone else was dumbfounded. Gigi, are you serious? The Yan family is planning to hand over the company to this adopted son. I tilted my head and said with a smile, what else can we do? Yan Xiao has already disappeared, and now Uncle Yan only has this one son left. If not Yan Qing, who else could he give it to? Everyone exchanged glances and instinctively made way for us. See you tomorrow. Yan Qing and I walked side by side in complete silence the whole way. It wasn't until we were almost home that he finally said, thank you for today. Before I could say you're welcome, he added, I know you were helping me out of that awkward situation. Don't worry, I won't dwell on things that don't belong to me. I went through great pains to bring him in, not to see him remain so harmless. I stopped and turned to look at him. Why wouldn't I think about it? Yan Qing seemed stunned by my question, his mouth hanging open as he struggled to find words. I looked at him seriously. The opportunity is right in front of you, and you still don't know how to cherish it. Do you really want to keep being bullied by others? Yan Qing frowned, a flicker of complex emotion passing through his handsome eyes. I looked away. He looked so much like Yan Xiao. But I'm just an adopted child. Yan Xiao will eventually come back someday. What's wrong with being adopted? I retorted. What they care about isn't whether you're biological or adopted. Only what benefits the family matters most to them. Besides, what does affection even mean? Before I turned 8, my parents doted on me exclusively, practically holding me up to the heavens. Yet when I returned in disgrace 10 years later, they stood with the fake heiress just the same, casting me aside like worthless trash. They looked down on me for being dark-skinned and skinny, Thinking I'm not presentable, they complain that I've completely forgotten all the social etiquette I learned before, embarrassing them in public at a dinner gathering with over 20 people. My father even publicly told me to get out just because my chopsticks fell on the floor. But Mom and Dad, for the past 10 years, I've been bound hand and foot with ropes, having to bury my face in the bowl to eat. If I don't eat, I'll starve to death. For me, so-called etiquette was the first thing I discarded. Just surviving to return was hard enough. Feelings will fade with time. Whether to seize this opportunity is up to you. After saying that, I went home first in this lifetime. I'll only focus on benefits. It seems the words I said to Yanqing had some effect. He's truly becoming more like a rich second-generation heir with each passing day. Whenever he was unsure about something, he would come to ask me, and he no longer acted submissively toward anyone. Over the years, in addition to learning golf, shooting, equestrianism, and piano, he also mastered financial knowledge and business administration. He grew into someone even more outstanding than the real Yan Xiao. After he secured another project for the Yan family, I waited for him outside the meeting room. As soon as he stepped out, another bouquet of flowers was handed to him. 5. Another big deal closed. Congratulations. Yanqing held the flowers with one hand and naturally took my bag with the other. Stop teasing me, future richest woman. Let's go home. I smiled without saying a word. Over these years, while Yanqing has proven herself in various fields, I haven't fallen behind either. By the way, the college entrance exam is coming soon. Which university do you want to attend? I answered without hesitation, University A in this city. Yanqing glanced at me. What a coincidence. Me too. Watching the night scenery receding outside the window, I slowly curled up the corners of my lips. Almost 10 years have passed. I have been committed to improving myself, gradually taking over connections, resources, and the family business from my parents. Uncle Yan gradually had Yanqing take over the family business during his spare time from studies. Despite his young age, he excelled in every task assigned to him. This led everyone in their social circle to acknowledge that the Yan family had gained an unexpectedly talented and hardworking adopted son. Coupled with his striking looks and tall stature, the guy even became an unexpected internet sensation. Although he never intended to make a living from the internet, his completely empty account with no content whatsoever managed to gain 10 million followers. Calculating the time, Yan Xiao should be back soon. But no matter what, Yanqing had more than one way out. Besides, it's still uncertain which side strict father and mother will favor when the time comes for this grand drama. I must stay local to watch it conveniently. On the day the college entrance exams ended, Uncle Yan's family and my parents took us out to celebrate. Everyone was overjoyed, with not a trace of gloom visible on strict father and mother's faces. We didn't go home until after midnight. Uncle, Auntie, see you tomorrow. We waved and said goodnight. But as soon as the words left our mouths, a sinister voice came from not far away. Who is he? The strict father and mother answered without hesitation. Yanqing, our son. Under the streetlight, a shabbily dressed person stomped their feet and roared in despair. If he's your son, then what am I? Everyone froze in shock, and the items in the strict parents' hands fell to the ground. My parents looked at each other, their hands that were about to open the door silently withdrew. Only I couldn't help but laugh. After waiting for so long, you've finally come back. When I saw the girl standing beside her, my hand hanging by my side suddenly clenched. And Yuan, my parents' adopted daughter in my past life, feared losing her status after I returned home, so she repeatedly framed me and ultimately killed me by running me over. The fake heiress, I'd recognize her even if she turned to ashes. Yan Xiao rushed forward like a madman, staring at Yanqing as he roared furiously. I was lost, not dead. Do you even care about me as your son? While I was eating pig shit in that godforsaken place, you were all at home having fun and even found someone to replace me. The strict father and mother were too stunned to react. Actually, it's not entirely their fault. Yan Xiao had completely changed in appearance, with greasy hair sticking together and a scar on his dark, grimy face. The neck was filthy, clearly covered in grime, looking just like a black wheel. Speak, say something. I'm back. I'm the child of this family. Get this man out of here. With that, Yan Xiao began shoving Yanqing. Finally, Yan's parents snapped out of their daze. 6. They instinctively shielded Yanqing behind them. Xiao, how come you're back? Yan Zhao's eyes turned red as he laughed angrily. Shouldn't I have come back? Fine, I'll leave then. At this moment, an Yuan, who had remained silent all along, grabbed Yan Zhao's arm. Uncle, Aunt, Yan Xiao has suffered immensely during these years of being trafficked. It's only natural for him to feel heartbroken seeing such a scene upon returning home. just look at the scars on his body and you'll know how much suffering he's endured. Yan Zhao's abdomen and back were covered with scar after scar. I know all too well how these scars came to be, nothing more than lash marks from whips. Disobey, and you'll be beaten. Resist and you'll be beaten. Try to escape and the beating will be even worse. The strict mother's tears fell instantly. She wanted to hug Yan Xiao, but her outstretched hand never quite made contact. It's good that you're back. Let's go home first. You can take a bath and relax. By the way, look at Gigi. You haven't seen each other for a full 10 years, and she's grown even more beautiful. Before he could finish speaking, Yan Xiao gritted his teeth and lunged at me. I deliberately didn't dodge. But Yan Qing pulled me away from Yan Zhao's attack. And Aiji, a lowlife like you doesn't deserve to live in this world. Just die. I'll kill you. Everyone was frightened by his appearance. I also pretended to be pitiful and innocent, trembling as I hid behind my parents. Yan Xiao, why do you say such vicious words to me as soon as you return? I remained silent. Of course I know why. Back then, I also watched helplessly as he was taken away. Yan Xiao pointed at my nose, cursing me, saying I'd die a horrible death, that I was worse than a pig or a dog, saying that the reason he was abducted was all because of me. I didn't defend myself with a single word, just stared at him the whole time with a shocked and hurt expression, just like how nobody believed me in my past life. Now nobody believes him either. During his absence, I almost became like a half-daughter to the Yan family who would believe his nonsense. Sure enough, seeing that he couldn't dissuade Yan Xiao, the strict father kicked over a nearby trash can and then pointed at him, shouting loudly, "Stop acting crazy here." We checked the surveillance footage back then. You were the one who foolishly got scammed. What does that have to do with Gigi? Get home now. Yan Xiao wanted to say something more, but his father cut him off. If you don't come back, then get out. From now on, I'll consider myself as having no son. Finally, an Yuan gently nudged Yan Zhao's arm. He finally relented. Fine, I'll go home, but this is Xiaoen, my girlfriend. She's coming with me. Only then did the farce come to an end. Just as an Yuan was about to enter, she turned back to glance at me. The seething hatred in her eyes left me utterly bewildered. If anyone should bear hatred, it's me who has the right to hate her. Could it be she's also been reborn? The next day, Yan Qing and I made plans to handle the preparations for the art exhibition together. After a moment's thought, I deliberately went next door. Uncle, Auntie, how is Yan Xiao doing? Yan Xiao, who was eating, threw his chopsticks violently to the ground upon hearing my voice. Dad, I already said last night. From now on we need to draw a clear line with the neighbors. The stern father glanced at him helplessly, while the strict mother quickly stood up and pulled me inside. Don't listen to his nonsense. He just came back and is agitated. Who's agitated? Yan Xiao slammed the table and stood up, taking 2 steps to stand before me. 7 in his previous life, he grew to about 185 centimeters tall, quite a height, but this time, perhaps due to malnutrition, I can match his height just by wearing high heels. And Aiji, stop putting on airs in our house. Get out now. The strict father and mother were about to stop him, but the fake heiress from his past life, that is, Xiaoen in this life, stopped them first. Uncle, aunt, please just listen to what Yan Xiao has to say. And Aiji, I truly don't know how I've offended you. Do you have any idea what kind of life I've been living these years? Those bastards simply, perhaps recalling something painful, Yan Zhao's lips began trembling mid-sentence. But now I'm back. This is my home, not yours and that pretty boy's. I'm the biological son of the Yan family, the heir to the Yan family's fortune, and none of you are allowed to covet what's mine. I glanced at Father Yan and Mother Yan, then nodded along with his words as if humoring a child. All right, you're absolutely right. Yan Qing, it's getting late, let's head out now. Where do you think you're going? Yan Xiao blocked our path. I deliberately gave Yan Qing an admiring glance, too. Attend the launch event of the project that both Yan Qing and I are involved in. By the way, didn't you used to enjoy accompanying your uncle and aunt to these events? Would you like to come with us this time? Yan Zhao's face instantly flushed red with anger. Oh right, I forgot. Even with the best platform, being away for 10 years makes it very hard to come back. I smiled and waved at the strict parents. Uncle, auntie, we're leaving now. After going out, Xiaoen actually followed us. Yan Qing went to wait for me in the car first. While Xiaoen began probing me, I heard you and Yan Xiao were childhood sweethearts, and you were also present during the kidnapping incident back then. Then how come you managed to escape successfully? Watching her feigned innocent expression, I covered my nose and took half a step back. It stinks. Did you not wash properly last night? That fishy stench. You don't have some dirty disease, do you? These were the first words she said to me in our Previous life, we stared at each other, the unmasked hatred erupting from our eyes. So you wretched bitch got reborn too. I chuckled coldly. This is what they call divine mercy. The heavens specifically sent me back to deal with you murderous scum. Xiaoan curled her lips in a sneer. What does being reborn change? You'll still lose to me. This lifetime I'll crush you under my wheels, then dump your corpse in the gutter to feed the maggots. By then, your parents will still regard me as their own daughter. I glanced sideways at her and suddenly smiled. Did she think I've done nothing these past 10 years? Now it's probably not that I can't live without them, but that they can't live without me. What are you laughing at? I gave her a once-over and said coolly, it's just that without my family's money being spent on you, you look really ordinary. Guess how Yan Xiao would treat you if he found out your parents were human traffickers. Her pupils contracted in fear as I strode away and got into the Mercedes-Benz parked nearby. Yanqing handed me a bottle of water. You seem to really dislike the two of them, right? I didn't hide it. If you want to stay here, you'll have to be hostile towards them, just like me. After waiting all these years, isn't this the moment we've been waiting for? Yanqing started the car while gazing ahead, calmly saying alright. There wasn't really anything important about the press conference. I just used it as an excuse to deliberately provoke them. After finishing most of the work, Yanqing and I found a coffee shop to sit in. Just sitting there, I saw a Yan family car drive past on the roadside. Could that be Yan Xiao? Follow it and see. 8. The car stopped at the hospital entrance. It was indeed Yan Xiao, and he hadn't brought Xiaoan along, acting all mysterious, and he went straight to the proctology department as soon as he entered. Yanqing was puzzled. What's he doing here? I just smiled meaningfully. It's impossible that someone would come to the hospital alone just to get hemorrhoids treated. It seems Yan Xiao has been through a lot these years. Yan Xiao stayed in the proctology department all day, insisting before leaving that he couldn't be hospitalized because he had things to do. After he left, I had Yanqing use his face that resembles Yan Xiao's to trick the doctor. What's going on? Yanqing's expression was somewhat complicated. Speak up. What on earth is going on? Yanqing took out a photo and showed it to me. It was a scan Yan Xiao had just taken, clearly showing a round light bulb and a beer bottle inside the abdominal cavity. Even though I was mentally prepared, I was still utterly shocked. Damn, this experience is way more eventful than my past life. Yanqing's 18th birthday was just a few days away. Although the atmosphere in the Yan household has been somewhat awkward these days, Mr. and Mrs. Yan are still meticulously preparing for his coming-of-age ceremony. Yan Xiao has been constantly causing trouble. When I came home, you didn't even throw a party to welcome me. Now just because some foster son is turning 18, you're making such a grand celebration for his coming-of-age ceremony. Mom, Dad, have you lost your minds? I'm your real son. Standing by with an innocent look, I said. But Brother Yanqing not only won various competitions but also participated in company projects early, bringing much honor to the family. Moreover, this birthday banquet isn't just for him. Many people will be coming. After all, adult gatherings are just another business arena. Father and Mother Yan gave Yanqing and me approving glances, yet when their gaze fell on Yan Xiao, they sighed almost imperceptibly. Your father and I have told you many times, if you could just control your temper a little, we'll immediately hold a banquet for you and arrange for you to study abroad. That girlfriend of yours can also. Before the words were finished, Yan Xiao abruptly stood up again. What do you mean? You want to send me away and hand the company to this pretty boy? Let me tell you, no way. Our family's business must go to me. Otherwise I'd rather destroy it than let you give it to an outsider. If I'm suffering, nobody gets to be happy. Did anyone think of me when I was enduring hardships outside? No, you're here raising someone else's son, deluding yourselves into thinking you're enjoying family bliss. Stupid. Fucking morons. The stern father finally reached his breaking point. Upon hearing this, he smashed the teacup beside him on the ground. If you keep spewing this filth, get the hell back where you came from. Yan Xiao trembled with rage, but in the end, Xiaoan pulled him outside. After comforting my stern father, I finally returned home, only to coincidentally run into those two playing with crickets on the road, with such a perfect opportunity. How could I resist going over to provoke them? Getting angry already. Yan Xiao, not to be rude, but you're becoming increasingly petty these days. Yan Xiao even wanted to throw hands with me. While Xiaoan stood by watching the drama with cold eyes, I stood firmly in place without dodging, simply saying, if you hit me, all of the Yan family's shares will belong to Yanqing. What do you mean? I looked at them with a smile. You didn't know, but Yanqing is truly outstanding. He's been part of this family for 10 years, and uncle and aunt already signed documents giving him 10% of the shares. Effective on his 18th birthday, That was the first time I saw someone so angry their eyes could literally shoot flames. After the 18th birthday coming-of-age ceremony, Yan Qing will officially become a legitimate shareholder. Yan Xiao gritted his teeth. This is absolutely outrageous. Many people came on the day of the coming-of-age ceremony. As today's protagonist, Yan Qing was radiant from head to toe. He followed his strict parents in conversing with the guests. After 10 years of immersion, he had long since become adept at handling such occasions. Just as the cake was being cut, Yan Xiao suddenly popped open a champagne bottle and sprayed it directly at Yan Qing on stage. Champagne splashed equally on everyone, causing continuous screams at the scene. Yan Qing's carefully styled hair got wet and stuck to his forehead, with a few drops of champagne running down his cheeks. Yan's parents were also startled, but it was too late to stop it. Why are we celebrating this outsider's birthday? Why did you introduce him to so many people? Yan Xiao roared from behind, still unsatisfied, then stormed onto the stage and grabbed the microphone. Open your eyes and see clearly. I am the legitimate heir of this family. That imposter, I'll kill him sooner or later. Before he could continue his outburst, Father Yan rushed up and slapped him. Shut up. Sorry everyone, Yan Xiao has some mental issues. He's crazy. Ah, Yan Xiao, how dare you hit your own father? The father and son started fighting right in front of everyone, scaring all the guests away. I helped Yan Qing wipe the wine stains off his face. This is the best birthday gift I could give you. From now on, Yan Qing will no longer pose any threat. The corners of Yan Qing's lips lifted slightly, but just as he was about to answer me, his brows furrowed again. He quickly pulled me behind him and then kicked out with his leg. Only then did I realize Xiaoan was charging at me with a knife. Even after being kicked to the ground, she kept shouting defiantly, again, do it again. 9. Yan Qing frowned. Is she mentally ill? Of course I understood what she meant by again. Unfortunately, she would never get another chance in this lifetime. Father Yan and Yan Xiao had a complete falling out. They severed their father-son relationship, and Yan Xiao was driven out of the house. Meanwhile, I had reporters expose Yan Xiao's film instantly. Topics about Yan Xiao went viral across the internet. No, I'm just curious how this guy could still fight people with a foreign object inside his body. But guy, no, I just slipped while showering and accidentally sat on it. He might genuinely be insane. A flood of negative comments can quickly drown a person. A few days later, I received a text message from Yan Xiao. Same old place, dare you come? It took me a long time to recall where the same old place he mentioned was. That evening I gladly accepted the invitation, but I was already prepared when the car charged at me again. Its 2 tires burst before reaching me, and it crashed into a large tree nearby. I watched coldly as they all got injured. Would I fall at the same place twice? There was a gash on Yan Xiao's forehead, blood streaming down his face. He glared at me fiercely. Why on earth would you do this to me? I laughed. I'm just treating you the way you treated me. Faintly, I caught a whiff of gasoline in the air. Watching the gasoline slowly spreading across the ground, I cut to the chase. You've been stuck in a place called Huangdaga village all these years, unable to escape, right? A flicker of surprise flashed in Yan Zhao's eyes. How did you know? I curled my lips. I also know that your girlfriend's parents are human traffickers. Yan Xiao didn't believe me, so I smiled and tossed him a video. It was Xiaoan who affectionately called the traffickers mom and dad, and even gave them many ideas on how to abuse Yan Xiao. As for how I obtained this video, of course, after I was reborn, I secretly sent someone to the trafficker's house early on to install hidden cameras. Xiaoan also saw the content of the video, screaming and shaking her head. No, it's not true. Yan Xiao was furious. I'll kill you, you bitch. I turned and walked away quickly. Let the fire cleanse this pair of scum. Upon hearing the news of Yan Xiao's death, his parents weren't as grief-stricken as one might expect. Instead, it felt like a weight had been lifted. The strict father was also badly beaten, and coupled with the psychological blow, he seemed to have aged 10 years. Yan Qing smoothly became the sole heir. My parents were at home watching TV and sighing over the series of events that had happened to the Yan family. Is there some kind of superstition in their family? There's been way too much happening lately. If you ask me, we should find someone to ward off the bad luck. I let out a cold laugh and turned off the TV with a wave of my hand. You. Meeting my parents' gaze, I pulled out 2 plane tickets and said slowly, the elders next door have all retired. You should go abroad to enjoy your retirement years too. /NIG. Have you grown too big for your boots? /10. I stood up with a smile, then shook the small medicine bottle in my hand. Dad, your heart hasn't been feeling well lately, and all the special medicine has been coming from me. In reality, there was no special medicine at all, just vitamins. The reason he thought it worked was simply because on the days he took the medicine, I didn't poison him. My dad was instantly hit where it hurt the most. He slumped back onto the sofa. Alright. Alright, the child has grown up and started scheming for power. I went straight upstairs. In my past life, they believed the fake heiress's instigation and distanced themselves from me. Letting them retire abroad was already my mercy. The next morning when I left for work, I happened to run into Yan Qing at the door as he was about to leave. He tilted his chin at me. Let's go. With a smirk, I got into his car. Let's go. Our battlefield has only just begun. Story 2. It is common knowledge that I like Qin Henian. He and I were drugged and locked in the same room, even with bloodshot eyes. He was unwilling to touch me. He looked at me with a cold expression and said, "You're really debasing yourself by learning to drug men and offer yourself to them." Everyone thought I would take advantage of the situation and force him to marry me. However, without hesitation, I cut my wrist and soaked it in cold water to stay awake and live stream to prove my innocence. In my previous life, Qin Henian firmly believed that I was behind the scheme. As a result, he failed to marry Gu Mian, the girl he loved the most. He hated me for his entire life. In the 10th year of our marriage, Gu Mian and I both fell into the sea. Before drowning, I watched him swim towards Gu Mian. In this life, I will never repeat the same mistakes. Qin Henian was kneeling in the corner with red-rimmed eyes, and the gentle and refined smile in his eyes was gone. He had always been measured in his actions and rarely got angry. At this moment, there was a faint anger in his eyes, and his face became even more gloomy. He coldly questioned me. "Did you drug me, Song Jian? Have Mian and I been too kind to you, that you dare to scheme against me?" I had been in love with Qin Henian for 6 years, and it was well known, and it was also common knowledge that the person in Qin Henian's heart was Gu Mian. My brain was also controlled by the drug. In the last moment of remaining lucidity, I didn't hesitate to pick up the knife on the table and scratch my arm. The blade was sharp, and as soon as it touched my arm, red liquid flowed out immediately. I stumbled and ran to the toilet, filled the sink with water, and immersed both hands in it. When the pain was greater than the body's heat, my brain finally cleared. It hurt so much that it went numb. In the previous life, the effect of the drug was too strong, and I completely lost my mind. Under my seduction and the control of the drug, Qin Henian couldn't help but be moved. When he woke up, there was no longer any smile on Qin Henian's face. His eyes were filled with indifference and disgust. Qin Henian and I were family friends. He was my nominal little uncle, and there was no blood relationship between us. The first time I saw him, my cheeks turned red. After I came of age, I pursued him openly. He taught me gently like an elder, "Jian, this is not love. You're still young and don't know what love is." He thought that my liking was just a child's whim and wouldn't last long, but this liking lasted for 6 years in a blink of an eye until he and I were framed, drugged, and locked in the same room. From then on, he never had a good look for me again. Outside the hotel that day, a group of reporters crowded tightly. As soon as the door was opened, the messy clothes on the ground and our disheveled appearances could be seen. Everyone tacitly knew what had happened. Finally, for the sake of both families and the company's stocks, Qin Henian had to marry me to end the matter. The relationship between Gu Mian and Qin Henian had always been ambiguous. Qin Henian liked Gu Mian. They kept in touch but never confirmed their relationship. I once asked Gu Mian, "Sister Mian, will you marry Qin Henian? Do you like him?" Gu Mian smiled gently, and her eyes dimmed a bit. "No, I don't like him." After getting her answer, I dared to pursue Qin Henian so recklessly, but I never expected such a thing to happen. After marrying Qin Henian, I became the laughingstock in the eyes of the noble ladies and the daughters of aristocratic families. Qin Henian, who had always been indifferent to women, began to wander around nightclubs and bars. In the eyes of outsiders, Qin Henian was the victim in this marriage. He was extremely pitiful. After being schemed by me, he lost his lover and was forced to marry a woman he didn't love. In the 10 years of marrying him, I was criticized and insulted. Gu Mian, as the well-known first love school beauty of University A, was protected by everyone. I became the vicious supporting female character in everyone's eyes. Qin Henian treated me coldly and indifferently. Every time he looked at me, there was only hatred in his eyes. "Song Jian, you haven't learned anything all these years. You've only learned to debase yourself and offer yourself to men," I had explained. But they all didn't believe that I was also a victim in this matter. The man I had wanted to marry since I first fell in love completely shattered after I turned 22. After marriage, I tried to change his view of me, but he became colder and colder towards me day by day. For Gu Mian and to divorce me, Qin Henian continuously expanded the business territory of the Qin family. Within a few years, The Chin family became the absolute number one, allowing the Chin family and the Song family to be completely separated. Chin Henian held a grand birthday party for Gu Mian without considering my feelings. The upper-class society all knew that I, Song Jian, the wife of the Chin family, was just a nominal one in my youth. That bosom big sister who repeatedly said that she didn't like Chin Henian was actually enjoying everything that Chin Henian gave her. She clearly said that she didn't like Chin Henian. But when I was slandered for interfering in her relationship with Chin Henian, she remained silent. At the banquet, Gu Mian and I fell into the water together. When I fell into the water, I saw Chin Henian's face suddenly change, and he swam towards Gu Mian. 2. When Chin Henian saw me cutting my hand, his eyebrows furrowed tightly, and he walked towards the bathroom to prevent the reporters from taking things out of context. I didn't dare to soak in the bathtub. As long as my clothes were a little wet, it could be fabricated that something almost happened between Chin Henian and me. I could only cut my wrist to hurt myself and also took the initiative to turn on the live stream to record my every move. When I saw him approaching me, I roared, "Don't come over, stay away from me." Suddenly, the door was kicked open. The reporters outside quickly swarmed in. The flashlights went off with a clicking sound. Seeing the intact clothes on Chin Henian and me and the neat and orderly furnishings in the room, and the distance between Chin Henian and me, the reporters showed disappointed expressions. I didn't want to have any relationship with Chin Henian. I completely relaxed. This time, nothing would happen between Chin Henian and me. When I saw a friend come in, I felt relieved and closed my eyes. Chin Henian and I were both sent to the hospital. As soon as I opened my eyes, in front of me was Gu Mian's plain face. She was wearing a washed-out long dress and looked pitiful. Her tone was a bit anxious and tinged with a crying voice. "Jian, I know you like Henian, but you can't ruin your innocence like this. Do you know how important this is for a girl?" Gu Mian's words were subtly implying that I was the one who drugged them. Chin Henian was also in the ward. He recovered faster than me. There was no sign of embarrassment, as if nothing had happened. Gu Mian looked extremely nervous and worried, acting as if she was doing it for my own good. I lifted my eyelids and looked at Chin Henian. "Call the police, this is not a small matter," Gu Mian shouted in a somewhat sharp voice. "No." Chin Henian's gentle gaze fell on her. I looked at her coldly. She pinched the corner of her clothes and explained, "Jian, you're a girl, this matter will have a bad impact on you. If people find out, they will say that you're indiscreet and stop at nothing to pursue a man." Chin Henian's expression was cold. There was no longer the measured smile and care he used to have for me. There was only disgust and dislike. After listening to Gu Mian's explanation, he was stunned for a moment. His tone was cold and warning. "Song Jian, I won't pursue this matter this time. But don't let this happen again." I smiled faintly. Why not pursue it? Why should I be drugged for no reason and almost have my innocence ruined by you? I won't let go of the person who drugged me behind my back. I saw that Gu Mian's face turned a bit pale. The arc of Chin Henian's mouth curled up with sarcasm. He seemed to think that me calling the police was a joke. In his heart, he thought that this matter was my self-directed and self-acted play in my previous life. I didn't have the opportunity to explain, but after marrying him, I explained countless times. He never believed me. What he thought didn't matter to me, but I wouldn't let myself take the blame for no reason. 3. After being discharged from the hospital, I seriously attended classes at school. I only went home on weekends. My family and the Chin family were family friends. No matter what, we couldn't completely cut off contact. My parents often went abroad and left me in the Chin family, but after being discharged from the hospital, I no longer pestered Chin Henian. In the upper-class circles of the capital, everyone knew that I was Chin Henian's little tail and would stick to him all day long. I was vigilant against every opposite sex around him and spared no effort to dispel their coveting and attaching to Chin Henian. I deleted all the copywriting and photos related to Chin Henian in my moments in one go. The Weibo that had recorded him for 6 years was also cancelled. On the weekend, I returned to the Chin family. Chin Henian was leaning against the sofa. His long legs were crossed, and he sat there looking at me. His deep voice had no fluctuation. Back, I was stunned for a moment, then nodded and changed my shoes. His expression was cold. "Song Jian, I've spoiled you too much, which made you dare to drug me. Your parents haven't come back yet, but because of your parents' instructions before they left, I will still take good care of you for them. I'll tell you one last time, I don't like you. Stop pestering me. Remember, you should call me little uncle." I sneered and looked at him without speaking. I walked straight towards the room that originally belonged to me. With my back to him, he said, "From today on, I won't come back here anymore. You can live in this villa as you like." Before leaving, he sneered casually and looked at me contemptuously. telling me, the mistress of the Qin family will only be Gumian, you're so old, love yourself. Don't always do things like chasing after men, don't do such debasing things like offering yourself again. I didn't stop and walked up the stairs. If he thought I was chasing after him, then why did he? Accept the pair of rings my parents gave me. My parents gave me a pair of customized rings when I was born. When I turned 18, my mother gave me the rings. Baby, you're an adult now and can pursue the boy you like. When you have a boy you really like in the future, give him the other ring as your token of love. It's also a blessing from your father and me for your love. On the day I came of age, I couldn't wait to give the ring to Qin Henian. He let me put the ring on him. I told him the meaning of this ring, and he accepted it. I didn't call him little uncle because he simply didn't deserve it. After he left, I packed all my luggage and moved back to the dormitory. My parents were still abroad, and it was deserted to go home, for I started to integrate into college life. Gu Mian called me from a strange number. Jiayin, are you angry? I know Henian doesn't like you, and it's embarrassing for you that he didn't accept your initiative, but don't ignore me. Okay. Hearing this, I found it ridiculous. If you talk nonsense again, just wait for the court summons. This is slander. As soon as the words fell, a man's voice came from the other end of the phone. His voice was very low and deep. Song Jiayin, where's your upbringing? Who allowed you to talk to an elder like this? I suddenly laughed. What kind of elder is she? Qin Henian said, little aunt. How shameless. What right did she have to claim kinship with me? What did Qin Henian like about Gu Mian? Did he like her cold and self-righteous little white flower look? She had a pitiful background and raised her younger brother alone. In Qin Henian's eyes, she had a gambling father, a sick mother, and a poor her. I was a pampered and innocent daughter of a wealthy family. On the other end, Gu Mian said softly and weakly, Henian, don't say that, she'll be sad. I snorted, be careful that I sue both you and her. Suing one person is the same as suing two people. I was too lazy to argue with them. I hung up the phone and didn't hesitate to block this strange number. Lu Yuyu was the first friend I made in the dormitory. She knew my feelings for Qin Henian best. Before I died in my previous life, I had already suffered from depression. If it weren't for Lu Yuyu, I'm afraid I would have left long ago. Now that I have a new life, I just want to cherish it. 5. Qin Henian really never went back to that villa again, and neither did I. On the weekend, I received an invitation to a banquet. At the banquet, except that I didn't pester Qin Henian as usual. Everything was the same as before. When Qin Henian made an appearance, everyone's eyes turned to me and him. Many girls surrounded him. When everyone thought I would step forward to drive away the girls around him, I turned around and walked into the dance floor instead. When Qin Henian saw me turn around, his body froze slightly, and he retracted his gaze. Everyone looked at each other in astonishment, finding it inconceivable that I didn't follow behind Qin Henian later at the banquet. If it weren't for Xin Yueza, Qin Henian's brother, making a bet in the circle, I wouldn't have paid any attention to Qin Henian at all. Xin Yueza shouted with great interest, let's make a bet. How long can Miss Song be noble and not pester Brother Hen? I took a sip of the cocktail in my hand to moisten my throat, snatched the microphone from Xin Yueza's hand, and smiled sweetly. Then let me tell you, I, Song Jiayin, will never be with Qin Henian in this life. Also, don't mention me and Qin Henian together. Too much gossip will affect my love life. I'm Qin Henian's little niece. I, who had always been reluctant to call him uncle before, personally said that I was his niece. My gaze crossed the crowd and met Qin Henian's. His eyes suddenly contracted. I saw his expression flustered for a moment, and then it immediately turned calm. 6. Before, I openly pursued Qin Henian and drove away many of his potential partners. Now, many people were eager to approach him. I didn't look at him again and walked to the center of the dance floor. When I was having a great time, Qin Henian walked into the crowd and pulled me out. Gu Mian's tone was worried and anxious, and her eyes were misty. Jiayin, stop being petty. Henian and I are very worried about you. When Qin Henian looked at me, his expression was only indifferent and distant, and his tone was slightly warning. Song Jiayin, you're so old. Don't be so childish. Do you think you can stimulate me by casually finding a man to dance with you? Now you're also 22 years old. Before, Mian Mian and I spoiled you too much, which made you have the guts to scheme against Mian Mian and me. In his heart, I had already been branded with the label of being shameless. I looked at his eyes and said firmly, little uncle, I've called the police about what happened last time. Don't throw dirt on me. I'm also a victim. I also have the right to question whether it was you who drugged me. Xin Yueza strolled slowly to our side. He covered his lower abdomen and laughed heartily as if he had heard the most ridiculous joke. After laughing for a while, he said, Jiayin, who doesn't know that you like Henian? Let me calculate. you've liked him for 6 years, he's always treated you like a child, and you like to throw yourself at him. Since I had such a passionate liking for Chin Henian, after this incident, everyone thought that I wanted to ruin my own reputation to threaten Chin Henian into marrying me. I pursed my lips and smiled. I did like him indeed, as you said, he treated me like a child. That was all because I was young and naive. My liking for him was only limited to the admiration for an elder, not romantic love. I looked at Chin Henian with a magnanimous gaze, and there was no love in my eyes anymore. Little uncle, am I right? I don't think anyone would like their own niece. 7. Chin Henian was stunned for a moment. Song Jian's eyes were calm, without a trace of softness or emotion. There was no longer the love she used to have, and she was overly magnanimous. Her eyes made him feel a bit flustered, hearing Song Jian trying her best to distance herself from him and repeatedly calling him little uncle. His heart inexplicably felt a sense of sinking. The busybodies around started to point and talk, speculating whether it was Song Jian who had drugged them. Someone said, Song Jian is probably playing hard to get. She drugged them and still wants to clear her name. Does she really think that just because she looks so confident, everyone will believe she didn't do it? Yeah, she used to like sticking to President Chin. How could she suddenly stop liking him? Dancing with other men in the dance floor is just to make President Chin jealous. Hearing these gossiping words, he felt a bit annoyed. Chin Henian's eyebrows furrowed slightly. When Song Jian was chatting merrily with several young men in the dance floor, he felt a bit displeased in his heart. She was willing to dance with strange men just to anger him, Chin Henian said coldly. Alright, Jian, show up in front of me less in the future. Even though I'm your little uncle, you should know the difference between men and women. 8. Hearing Chin Henian's words, I nodded. You're right, little uncle. Do you have to meddle in who I dance with? Aren't you being too nosy? I left without giving him any time to react. After the banquet, I went back to the dormitory. I also brought a box of Lu Yuyu's favorite pastries by the way. After washing up, I went to sleep. When I woke up, I saw an unanswered call. Living in the dormitory, I was used to turning on the do not disturb mode. There were also a bunch of messages popping up. Song Jian, you didn't go home last night. I accidentally answered an unknown number. The man's voice was as cold as if it had been quenched with ice. Song Jian, you didn't go home last night. Where did you go? I yawned slowly. Of course I was in the dormitory. He immediately heaved a sigh of relief, and then questioned me again. Did you post the black material about Mian? She's your future little aunt. You'd better show her some respect. Delete those things on the internet immediately. I cursed under my breath that he was crazy. 9. After logging onto the software, I found a post in my tone and under my identity, secretly implying that Gu Mian had interfered in the relationship between Chin Henian and me. Immediately, someone in the comment section refuted for Gu Mian. Chin Henian has never liked that arrogant and unreasonable daughter of the Song family. He has always liked Gu Mian. If we're talking about being a mistress, you, Song Jian, are the mistress. Gu Mian was the school beauty of University A, voted by her alumni and netizens. She became popular overnight on the internet but didn't make money from the traffic, so everyone's impression of her got better and better. In my previous life, after I married Chin Henian, the online trend was in her favor. For a full 10 years, I lived under verbal attacks. I, the daughter of the Song family, became a mistress hated by everyone, loving my family, friend little uncle and snatching the lover of my neighbor big sister. Before the drugging incident, I had a very good relationship with Gu Mian. I always regarded her as my bosom sister. I met her when I was 12 years old. She was 18 that year and was working part-time at my home. My parents protected me very well. I was the only heir of the Song family. My parents didn't want me to be wronged as an older sister and never considered having a second child. I, who grew up in a utopia, was almost violated when I was 12 years old, which left me with a huge shadow. Just when I was extremely painful, Gu Mian appeared. She enlightened and comforted me like a big sister. She encouraged me to make friends and make pen pals on the internet. What Chin Henian didn't know was that I met him when I was 12 years old. He was like Gu Mian that year, a kind big brother and big sister in my growth, guiding me out of this shadow. When I was 16, I recognized Chin Henian the first time I saw him. I told Gu Mian about my liking for Chin Henian, but she was stunned for a moment and told me to bravely pursue the person I liked. She said that if you like someone, you should pursue them passionately. She taught me to drive away all the opposite sex around Chin Henian. She told me that if there were too many opposite sex around Chin Henian, maybe he wouldn't like me. I did as she said, and I became the hot-tempered daughter of the Song family in everyone's eyes. It wasn't until before I died, at Gu Mian's birthday party, that I found out that Chin Henian had always thought that the person he was chatting with back then was Gu Mian. Gu Mian knew that Chin Henian didn't like girls who were too proactive, so she deliberately guided me to make Chin Henian dislike me. But she didn't expect that Chin Henian would be particularly tolerant of me. The reason why Gu Mian and I fell into the sea together was also her doing. Chin Henian saw me, but he quickly made a choice and swam towards Gu Mian. I could swim, but I didn't want to swim anymore. I didn't make any self-rescue moves. Fortunately, God had mercy on me and gave me a second chance at life. I immediately retained the blockchain and traced the source address of the poster. When I saw that IP, a faint smile curved my lips. 10. The rumors and gossips related to Gu Mian on the internet were quickly removed. The account pretending to be me was also immediately cancelled during this period. I completely cut off contact with Chin Henian. I learned from my friends in the circle with whom I had a good relationship that he had been taking Gu Mian to parties recently. My friend asked me if I had really let go, and I smiled and asked, otherwise. Suddenly, the other end of the phone became quiet. My friend said, Jiayin. He walked past me. He heard our conversation. Sorry, I chuckled. I'm serious. I don't like him anymore. 11. When Chin Henian heard the girl talking to Song Jiayin on the phone, he deliberately slowed down his pace. These days, Song Jiayin had completely disappeared from his side. The photos related to him and Song Jiayin's moments had been deleted, and it was set to be visible only for the last 3 days. The little girl who was like a little son, surrounding him and cheerfully driving away all the opposite sex around him, was gone, and he was a bit unaccustomed. After the banquet, he never saw Song Jiayin again. When he returned to the Qin family, the nanny told him, Miss Song, she hasn't come back for a long time. He stopped in his tracks, and his heart seemed to be sinking little by little. The nanny said cautiously, Miss Song might just be angry. Should Mr. Qin coax her, call her back? Yesterday, he also heard Shen Yueza say that he met Song Jiayin in the mall. Song Jiayin ordered a pair of couple rings that can only be purchased once with one ID card. Thinking of this, a faint smile curved Chin Henian's lips. No need, the little girl is just throwing a tantrum. She'll be back in a few days. He thought that since Song Jiayin was secretly preparing a gift for him, she would come back obediently in a few days. 12. Chin Henian's friends all thought that I would return to his side in a few days. He thought that my reluctance to return to the Qin family was deliberately playing petty, in order to get his attention. In his view, my estrangement from him meant that I hadn't completely let go. Therefore, in order to dispel my love for him, he arranged several blind date partners for me on Chin Henian's birthday. My parents told me, Jiayin, Henian is at least half an elder to you. Take a gift to him for your father and me. Chin Henian was of the same generation as my parents but wasn't much older than me. I sent the gift my parents gave to Chin Henian to the reception desk of his company. I was absent from his birthday. I blocked one of his numbers, but he could still contact me with countless unknown numbers. He called me and asked in a deep voice, why didn't you come last night? I answered magnanimously, I had too many classes. Jiayin, stop being petty. This trick of yours won't work on me. I don't like you. And that's that. Move back to the Qin family soon. I have many nice friends. I'll introduce them to you another day. I smiled and asked him, blind date? He replied, not exactly. Just let you get to know more people. Meet them first. If you don't like them, we'll talk about it later. I raised the corners of my lips. No need, little uncle. I have a boyfriend. I moved out of Chin Henian's villa and lived a carefree life on campus. As graduation was approaching, I began to regret that I had devoted all my attention to Chin Henian in the past and hadn't been able to fully enjoy campus life. When Lu Yuyu wasn't with me, I forgot to bring my meal card when I went to the cafeteria to get food. A pair of beautiful, fair hands with distinct knuckles held the meal card and paid for me. We added each other on WeChat and contacted frequently. His name was Chin Yubai, from the computer science department. Later, I found out that he was the one who helped me find the account that was pretending to be me and scolding Gu Mian. With his help, the broken surveillance at that time was restored. I also obtained more powerful evidence, so Chin Yubai and I started our first relationship. 13. After hanging up the phone, Chin Henian was silent for a long time. He stood on the balcony until the middle of the night. The cigarette burned out, and he didn't even feel the spark burning his hand until Shen Yueza excitedly told him, Brother Hen, Song Jiayin is in a relationship. A photo was sent to his phone. In the photo was Song Jiayin and a young boy. The girl in the photo was smiling brightly and beautifully, and the boy was high-spirited. They looked very well matched standing together, but he found it extremely. The corners of his eyes lifted, and a trace of hostility flashed in his eyes seeing the ring on the boy's hand, he almost crushed the cup in his hand. His heart suddenly beat violently. No matter how much he told himself that there was nothing to be angry about, his heartbeat couldn't return to normal. Over the years, he had indeed developed feelings for Song Jiayin, but Gu Mian had saved his grandmother's life. His grandmother's last wish before she died was for him to marry her savior, so he had always maintained extreme rationality. Plus, the pen pal he met when he was 18 turned out to be Gu Mian. He felt that he and Gu Mian were destined. He kept telling himself that the person he should marry was Gu Mian. He couldn't believe that the little girl who had chased him for 6 years had fallen in love with someone else so quickly. 14. Xin Yueza knew about my relationship and publicized it for me, so everyone in the whole circle knew about it. People in the circle started to guess how long I would be angry this time before returning to Qin Henian's side. They all thought that I wanted to use the way of dating someone else to attract Qin Henian's attention. Some people also thought that it was too naive for me to try to get Qin Henian's attention in this way, but I was seriously in a relationship in the past. My world only had Qin Henian, but now he was long gone from my future plans. When I was trying on the graduation ceremony dress with Lu Yuyu, Qin Henian suddenly appeared in front of me. He had a blank expression and a sullen face, and he educated me in the manner of an elder. Song Jiayin, in order to anger me, you casually date someone else. Do you understand what self-love is? My body froze slightly, and I looked at him with a smile, without any emotion in my eyes. How am I not self-loving by being in a relationship? Qin Henian's eyes were deep. He stared at me and said, Jiayin, you're young and can't tell right from wrong. You don't have a good eye for men either. When can I meet him? I pursed my lips and smiled. Thank you, but what should I call you? Little uncle, you're right about one thing. My previous taste in men really wasn't good, but both my parents are only children. You're at most a good friend of my parents. So, in what capacity are you lecturing me? My boyfriend and I have a very good relationship. We've met each other's parents, so don't worry about it. He suddenly grabbed my arm, and his eyes became colder and colder. You've met each other's parents. I nodded. Yeah, we met through a video call, which also counted as meeting. The man's voice volume increased with anger. Song Jiayin, his sudden shout of my name and his grip on my arm startled me. I saw his eyes suddenly turn red. Do you really know the other person well enough to be together so easily? Since your parents entrusted me to take care of you, then I have to take care of you. I broke free from his restraint. Qin Henian, mind your own business. Are you the police of the Pacific Ocean? Why are you so nosy? Not long ago. In fact, Qin Yubai and I broke up peacefully because of different life plans. 15. I called Gu Mian, and Gu Mian rushed over quickly. She walked to Qin Henian's side and took his hand. Henian, don't argue with Jiayin. Jiayin is young. Don't be angry with her. Qin Henian's eyes were deep and cold, staring straight at me. Ignoring Gu Mian's words, Gu Mian turned around and took my hand, persuading me in the capacity of Qin Henian's lover. Jiayin, apologize to your little uncle. I sneered. The one who should apologize is you, Gu Mian. Qin Henian may be blind, but the surveillance isn't. The gentle and obedient Gu Mian in front of me suddenly changed. She darkened her face, changed her expression, and forcefully dragged me towards the pool beside us. I steadied myself and used all my strength to hold on to her. In an instant, Qin Henian also immediately changed his expression and stepped forward to grab us. 16. An image immediately flashed through his mind. Song Jiayin and Gu Mian fell into the water together, but he didn't hesitate to save Gu Mian. He saw Song Jiayin's eyes, which scared him. The color had drained from her eyes. There was no will to survive, and they were as dull as a stagnant pool. When Song Jiayin was rescued, her face was deathly pale and her lips had lost their color. No matter how much he shouted or gave her artificial respiration, she refused to open her eyes. She lay in the ICU with an oxygen tube inserted, and the doctor pronounced her dead. He knelt in front of the hospital bed, crying hoarsely and shouting desperately, Song Jiayin, I was wrong. Please open your eyes and look at me. Okay. When she was covered with a white cloth, he tried to hold her tightly, but he couldn't hold her no matter what. He lost all his strength and couldn't get up. Kneeling on the spot, Song Jiayin died, and he lived in a daze. The moment he pulled her back felt like an eternity. Seeing that she hadn't fallen into the water, Qin Henian took a sharp breath and trembled all over. 17. Fortunately, the pool wasn't deep, but for someone who died in the water in the previous life, I was terrified. No matter how deep or shallow it was. A hint of darkness flashed in Qin Henian's eyes, and his expression was extremely cold. Gu Mian gently explained, biting her lips, looking frightened, and said, Henian, Jiayin didn't mean it. I crossed my arms and watched her, waiting to see how she would argue. Seeing that she couldn't pull me into the water, she tried to slander me. Gu Mian, there are surveillance cameras everywhere here, Lu Yu called. The police for me at this time, with my sufficient evidence, Gu Mian would surely be punished as she deserved. Qin Henian may be blind and not distinguish right from wrong, but the surveillance cameras are high definition. Qin Henian's face suddenly changed, and he looked at me helplessly. Jiayin, soon, the police arrived. Gu Mian was arrested, and she argued, Song Jiayin, you framed me. She cried pitifully to Qin Henian. Henian, save me. Gu Mian originally wanted to drug Qin Henian. Originally, she planned to have a relationship with Qin Henian and then frame me for drugging him. The glass of wine that she was supposed to drink was accidentally drunk by me. Gu Mian laughed and then cried. She said, everyone knows you're in love with Qin Henian, even if you were drugged. Others would just think you're shameless and willing to ruin your own reputation to marry him. Qin Henian's expression was unpleasant, and he growled, you're so vicious. After learning about everything, Qin Henian was completely stunned. 18 Qin Henian had a dream last night. In the dream, when they were drugged, he had a relationship with Song Jiayin and was forced to marry her. After marriage, he treated her very badly. Song Jiayin and Gu Mian fell into the water together, but he saved Gu Mian in the dream. They were married for 10 years, and Song Jiayin drowned. After hearing the police's statement, he understood everything. Song Jiayin had been reborn, so Song Jiayin really didn't love him anymore. That's why she didn't hesitate to cut her wrist when they were locked in the same room. She loved beauty the most, but in order to stay awake, she almost scratched her own face. It can be seen how desperate she was. 19 Qin Henian suddenly hugged me, and I pushed him away forcefully. The corners of his eyes were moist with tears. Jiayin, I'm sorry. I saw the guilt and heartache in his eyes. Qin Henian, we're both victims. There's no question of who's sorry to whom. A hot teardrop landed on my hand. He lowered his eyes, with endless desolation in his eyes. That's not what I meant. Jiayin, did you know it all along? That's why on the day we were locked in a room, you didn't hesitate to hurt yourself to prove your innocence. You were reborn, right? I was taken aback. I didn't expect him to know. I nodded. That's right, he said. I dreamed about it. The person who has been my pen pal is you. And the one who saved my grandmother is also you. Gu Mian took your place. The dream was so real that it scared me. But I never thought that this actually happened. I was wrong. Jiayin, I love you. Hearing his apology and confession, my heart was no longer stirred. Qin Henian, I can swim. I didn't make a sound when I fell into the water because I lost the will to live. I was diagnosed with severe mental illness that day. You held a grand birthday party for Gu Mian, and I had already become the laughingstock of the whole city, just thinking that I just liked you but sacrificed my whole life makes me feel suffocated. And I feel that life is not worth living. I liked you, but I'm not so morally corrupt as to drug you to get what I want. I, Song Jiayin, have always been open and aboveboard in pursuing you. If you hadn't accepted the ring that my parents gave for my future husband, I wouldn't have misunderstood that you had some romantic feelings for me too. After marrying you, I never had a good day. No one believed me. No matter how much I explained, it was useless. The whole world believed that I was interfering in your relationship with Gu Mian. So, when I went back to that day before anything happened, I was extremely grateful and wanted to cry with joy. I will never want to marry you in this life. He lost his strength and knelt on the ground. His eyes gradually turned red. Looking at me, there was regret and guilt in his eyes. He broke down and cried out loud in the crowded place. What do I have to do for you to forgive me? I said slowly, with a sneer. You can issue a statement telling everyone that it was you, Qin Henian, and Gu Mian who jointly drugged me, and that you had improper thoughts about me. Do you dare? Once such a statement is issued, the stock of the Qin family will plummet and he, Qin Henian, will become an object of universal condemnation. I want him to taste all the bitterness I endured in my previous life. Qin Henian nodded desperately and begged on his knees. I'm willing. Please don't leave me. Okay. I shook off his hand. 20. The person who almost violated me 10 years ago was found. It was Gu Mian's younger brother. The reason why Gu Mian came to my home to work part-time was also because of her guilt, but unexpectedly, she encouraged me to make pen pals, and then she herself fell in love with my pen pal, Qin Henian. Out of selfishness, she deliberately made me pursue Qin Henian vigorously, hoping that he would dislike me. My parents immediately flew back to the country. They hugged me and cried guiltily. I didn't want to make them sad. Gu Mian and her younger brother, Gu were sent to prison. Gu had still committed many evil deeds during these 10 years, with a series of crimes. He was sentenced to 20 years. Both siblings provided proof of hereditary mental illness. Gu Mian thought she could get away with it. Through the iron bars of the prison window, A strange smile appeared on her lips. I also looked at her and smiled faintly. They were sent to a mental hospital and received special care. Chin Henian felt guilty towards me. He asked someone to give Gu Mian and Gui special attention. Compared to prison, this place was even more terrifying. They were mentally tortured. They were not allowed to sleep for 7 days and 7 nights. Once they closed their eyes, they would be splashed with water. They were so sleepy but couldn't sleep, and they were tortured until they lost their minds. Gu Mian shouted loudly, "I'm not sick, let me out." There was no trace of pity in Chin Henian's eyes. Only fierceness. A mental patient never admits that they're sick. Gui let out a loud roar. The sound was tragic. 21. Jiayin, this is not love. He was criticized by everyone. The people in the circle who originally sneered at me now looked at Chin Henian with prejudice. Amidst the rumors and gossip, Chin Henian finally understood the pain and despair I felt in my previous life when I clearly didn't do something but was accused of doing it. 22. Not long after, Chin Henian was diagnosed with an illness. He was tormented by illness and guilt. On the phone, he begged me to see him. My tone was cold. "I don't like you. I feel sick when I see you." His voice was weak and hoarse. "Will you marry that boy?" I smiled and said, "Little uncle, at your age, don't even think about chasing after a young girl. There are so many young and handsome guys. Why would I like someone like you?" Chin Henian's tone was tinged with crying. "Jiayin, please don't call me that. I'm not your little uncle. I was wrong." Before getting an answer, he spat out blood. He didn't know that I had already broken up, but I'm not going to tell